Testing, testing. Ah, yes, loud and clear. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another reading stream. Today, we're going to be continuing the Goosebumps HorrorLand series with the 5th book, Dr. Maniac vs. Robby Schwartz. Now, this is the last one in order that I have. I have a few of them that are in the teens, but this is the last single-digit one I have. Do you have an echo, or is it my problem? Well, let's check my sound again. Testing, testing. No, it doesn't sound like an echo on my end. I intentionally do that test to avoid an echo. I can, of course, try to reset my mic just in case. Give me just a moment. Testing, testing. Yep, I sound pretty clear. Alright. That help on your end? Or is it still happening on your end? It's fine, yep. Good, good, good. Glad that got sorted out. Anyways, like I said, this is the last one in order that I have. So, unfortunately, we'll have to wait before we can get to the next one. The next one is... What's the next one called after this? Ah, Who's Your Mummy? Yeah, I don't have Who's Your Mummy, My Friends Call Me Monster, or Stay Cheese and Die Screaming. So, that will have to wait until I find them, either at the local library or at the secondhand shop that I found these ones. But thus far, they've only had Slappy World, and I'm hoping to God I don't have to mess with Slappy World, because I fucking hate Slappy. I've gone on about that tangent a lot. Fucking Slappy. Slappy is the worst thing to happen to this franchise. In my personal opinion. I know R.L. Stine loves using Slappy, but God, I hate Slappy. God, Slappy can just go fuck himself. Ugh. It's always the same fucking thing with Slappy. Anyways, I'm getting way off track. I don't know what I need to go over. Last time we read Scream of the Haunted Mask, and in the HorrorLand section, and they got the Sister Shenna back from Deep Trouble. She was visible and fine, but now they need to find a flaming carousel that doesn't seem to be part of the park, or at least not to anyone's knowledge. So, with that all being said, ahoy Doppel, ahoy murder, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Are you here for a frightfully good time? We can prattle on about spooky stories in between reading. Let me see. I should probably get my little book prop out. And should I put my feet up today? Maybe I should. And then I'm going to... There we go. We're getting all situated here. Gonna need to see how it looks on the screen, and then pull me over here. How do I look? Not very convincing like this. That's a bit more convincing. But I'm going a bit out of the frame. Come on. Alright, got that there. And then I'm gonna situate myself over here. Alright, alright, alright. How about put on our glasses? Oh, that is not the right. That is. What is that going on there? I don't know. Anyways. And then. L1. There we go. That was weird. Does this really work with the summer outfit? I don't know. Maybe it's just my skin. How it, clashes here. Let's see. Outfit 1. Leg 1. Yeah, I guess it just goes better with the kimono. Alright, how about this? Alright, and then... Alright, I got my book already. Are you guys ready? I do hope so. Yep, that's good to hear. Alright, had my cough drop. Give me one. Probably get a quick swing before I get started here. Dr. Maniac vs. Robby Schwartz by R.L. Stein. Considering that it said Robby Schwartz, the main character has to be male, so we'll do a male voice. Chapter 1. Ouch! I swatted a mosquito on my neck. Too late. Felt a trickle of warm blood under my fingers. That was a very violent mosquito, Jesus. My hiking boots sank into the muddy ground. I could hear the rustling sound in the bushes. Probably a killer coyote getting ready to bite my throat out. How much do I enjoy these family camping trips? How much do I like to have all my teeth pulled out by a crazed orangutan with rusty pliers? Robby, try to keep up, my dad called as he led the way along the trail. Yep, Robby, my brother Sam shouted. Try to keep up! He hates camping too, but he pretends he likes it. It's because he's the middle kid, so he has to try harder. Stop copying Dad, I shouted. Stop copying Dad, Sam repeated, like a stupid parrot. Give me a break, I moaned. Give me a break, Sam echoed. Give me a break, my sister Taylor whined. Mom and Dad laughed. She's 7. I think everything Taylor does is the cutest. You even laugh when she burps. Sam and I have a burping contest at the dinner table. Mom always gets angry, makes us stop. How fair is that? Whoa! I let out a cry as my foot caught on a fallen tree limb. Lost my balance, stumbled, and fall into the mud. My backpack landed hard on top of me. I heard Sam and Taylor laughing. This isn't funny, Mom said. Says that a lot. The only one in this family who wasn't a total joker. Sure it's funny, Sam said. Robby's a super klutz. Super klutz, super klutz, Taylor chanted. Did a crazy dance around Mom and Dad. Dad set down the tent, helped pull me to my feet. Hey, Super here for your comic strip, he said. Super clip, drips and falls on the bad guys. I rolled my eyes. Uh-huh, I said. See me laughing? How funny are you? Not. That is a very lame comeback, kid. My family always gives me lame ideas for my comic strip. I just ignore them. They don't have any clue how serious I am about my strip. Dad tugged my backpack onto my shoulders, then rubbed his hand through my hair and messed it up. My hair is light brown, almost blonde. I wear it long and wild. I sweep it back with my hand. I never brush it. You probably should. It's probably tangly as shit, dude. Take it from someone who knows. I have a lot of hair. Doesn't even fit under a baseball cap. And that's why Dad's always messing it up. Because he's bald as a bowling ball. A few weeks ago, I drew a comic character for my strip that looked like Dad. Called him Pinkhead. Never showed that one to Dad. He's kind of sensitive about having a big pink egg for a head. That's so mean. I'm the only one who's blonde and pale in my family. Sam and Taylor both have raven black hair and deep dark eyes like Mom. They're both short. Sam's a chubster. Hates it when I poke his belly and tell him it's just baby fat. Sun slid behind some clouds. The woods grew darker. Dad pointed up ahead. Let's set up camp by those tall trees, he said. There's grass there. Should be less muddy. Brushed a swarm of gnats out of my face. What's the point of gnats anyways? I mean, really need them? I don't think so. We found a nice clear space under the trees. Set to work putting up the 2 tents. Mom and Dad started to unpack the sleeping bags. Dad took a long drink from a water bottle and spit a gusher of water at me. Why would you do that? I ducked out of the way. Nice try, I shouted. Mom gave Dad a shove. Norman, give Robby a break. Do it again, Dad, Sam shouted. Dad laughed. Hey, Robby, who told you had to do that perfect water spit? I did, right? The Spitsmaster. Rolled my eyes. Why can't anyone in this family ever be serious? Mom asked. Pulled out my laptop, sat down in my backpack, mounted it on my knees, and booted it up. After a few minutes, I called to Dad. Trying to upload my comic strip. There's no network out here. I'm supposed to get online. Why don't you try to enjoy the woods instead? Mom asked. This is a camping trip. Put that away. I groaned. It's so boring out here. Nothing but nature, nature, nature. Dad grinned at me. Mom and I like nature. Fresh air, the great outdoors. You're both weird, I said. He pointed to the trees. Promise not to grumble either. Sun's going down. Help your brother gather firewood. Roll some more. I put away the laptop and trudged into the woods to help Sam. I really wanted to work on my new comic strip. I've been drawing comics since I was 7, but my new supervillain is my best one ever. Dr. Maniac, the total mental maniac of mayhem. Awesome, right? I tripped again, banged my shoulder against a tree trunk. Leaves shook and shivered above my head. A chipmunk stood up and stared at me. Scurried into the woods. Dr. Maniac versus Chickmunk Boy. That might work. Dr. Maniac forces a boy to eat a poisoned acorn. He grows into a giant chipmunk. Dr. Maniac decides to turn 1,000 boys into chipmunks. Can't help it. Get these great story ideas everywhere I go. Even in the woods. I don't know if it's great. But, go off. I stop and glance around. Where was the path? I walked over a thick blanket of sticks and dead leaves. The tall trees blocked out the sun. How far had I walked? I had a terrible sense of direction. I get lost in my own bedroom. Hey, Sam! Cut my hands around my mouth and shouted. Sam, are you here? No answer. Hey! Sam! Shouted louder. Where are you? A bird called loudly somewhere in the forest. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around, gasped as a figure stepped out from behind 2 trees. No, it can't be, I stammered. You're not real. I made you up. A grin sped over Dr. Maniac's face. Yes, Dr. Maniac, the comic villain I created. He walked up to me with a crazy grin on his face, brushed away his leopard skin cape. I'll show you just how real I am. Eat this, dead squirrel, he shouted. He raised his yellow-gloved hand, held a decaying dead squirrel. Its eyes had sunk deep into its head. Patches of fur had fallen off its back. Eat it, Dr. Maniac shouted. I tried to move away. I backed right into a wide tree trunk. You're crazy, I cried. Dr. Maniac shook his head. I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac! He bumped me with his chest. Had a big gold M on it. Now eat it, he demanded. Eat it! He shoved the putrid dead squirrel into my face. Chapter 2. Hope I didn't confuse you. The last chapter was just a comic strip I drew. Sam and I were sitting in the back of our SUV. We hadn't gone camping yet. We were on our way. Dad was driving the whole family into the woods. I showed Sam my newest Dr. Maniac strip on my laptop. What do you think? I asked. That squirrel thing is good, right? Like it when Dr. Maniac shoves a disgusting squirrel's corpse right in my face? Yeah, pretty cool, Sam said, staring at the screen. One thing I don't get. Who's a chubby little shrimp who goes camping with our family? That's you, I said. Sam punched my arm. No way I look like that, he said. Ever look in a mirror? I said, that is something you should have put, I asked. But, okay. Ever take drawing lessons? He shot back. Almost as tall as you are. Trees whirled past us as Dad roared down the highway. He couldn't wait to get there. Mom and Dad love camping. They drag us with them almost every weekend. The only thing I like about camping is it gives me new ideas for my Dr. Maniac strip. Farms with grassy green fields rolled past. Taylor sat in the middle seat, clapping her hands to music from the radio. Mom kept pointing out every cow and horse, but no one paid any attention. Sam read my comic strip again. What if you go picking up firewood in the woods today and Dr. Maniac really does show up? He asked. Robby, Mom called from the front seat. Hope you'll put your laptop away and help out this time. You always make Sam and Taylor do all the work. Yeah, join the family for once, Taylor said. Turned around and stuck her tongue out at me. Tongue was bright purple from the candy she was eating. Attack of the Purple Tongue. Good name for a comic, I thought. A boy's at the dentist's office. Dentist messes up. Boy's tongue falls out. Tongue starts to grow. It's very angry. Doesn't like being outside the mouth. The tongue attacks. Look at those sheep, Mom said, pointing out her window. Are you 2 boys enjoying the beautiful scenery? Sam, what do you think I should do next? I asked. Should I eat the disgusting, gross squirrel or should I try to escape? Can't decide which is cooler. Maybe both, Sam replied. He's never any help. Doesn't like writing stories. Total game freak. Spends hours after hours playing battle chess. What a weirdo. I like Dr. Maniac's costume, Sam said. Dresses like a total maniac. Red and blue tights with a gold M on the chest, yellow gloves, white boots with yellow feathers all over them, and a leopard skin cape. That's insane. Yeah, he's a crazy nutcase, I said. You're the nutcase. You're the nutcase, Taylor chimed in. Why don't you draw a comic called Dr. Schwartz, the maniac older geek brother? Reach over the seat, mop her gently on the head. Maniac! She screamed. And we talk about something else, Mom said. Look at those interesting shrubs over there. Oh, the wonder of shrubbery. I'm very certain that will interest your children. It will not. It will not. Interesting shrubs. Sam and I burst out laughing. Good one, Mom, I said. Dad turned off the highway, bounced along a gravel road till we came to a small, muddy parking lot. Stepped out the door into the bright sunlight. The air smelled fresh and sweet. 2 big red hawks glided round and round a grove of tall evergreen trees. Packed my laptop carefully into my backpack. Taylor jumped out the car, ran up to me, and stomped down hard on my sneaker. Ow! What'd you do that for? I asked. She shrugged. No reason. I'd kick her back. Damn. Get fucked, bitch. I limped to the back of the SUV, time to unload our stuff. We always take 2 tents, sleeping bags, cooking equipment, and a lot of sweaters and extra clothes. Loaded up like pack animals. Always lugged everything into the woods. Not my favorite part of camping. Actually, I don't have a favorite part of camping. What can you do when your parents are total outdoor freaks? We always follow the same dirt path through the trees, and after about 20 minutes, we came to a nice grassy clearing. Time to set up the tents, build a fire before the sun went down. Guess you want me to go get firewood, I said to Dad once the tents were set up. We'll have our jobs, Dad said. Oh yeah? I said. What's Taylor's job? Being cute. Taylor stuck her finger out again. Still purple. Or tongue out again. Still purple. Real cute. I set my pack with my laptop inside it down carefully in the back of my tent. Then I wandered across the tall grass to the trees to search for sticks and logs. The air grew cooler. I stepped deeper into the shade. The wind blew my long hair around my face. A black and orange butterfly fluttered in front of me, as if it were leading the way. Wow, I thought. Here I am, alone in the woods, picking up firewood. Just like my comic. That scene where I call to Sam and he doesn't answer, and then Dr. Maniac pops out from behind the trees. Suddenly I hear the bush rustle. Scrape of footsteps. Moving towards me. Fast. Dr. Maniac, I gasped. Chapter 3. No, not Dr. Maniac. I stared at Sam stepping forward, his arms filled with twigs and sticks for kindling. Robby, what's your problem? He asked. You scared me, I stammered. Pushed my hair away from my face with both hands. I was Dr. Maniac, I said, like in my comic strip. Sam squinted at me. Don't get weird, he said. Don't start mixing up comics and real life. I had been racing and slowly returned to normal. Hey, Sam, I said. Can you imagine what a messed up place this would be if superheroes and villains were real? They're always flying around in types and capes. We both laughed. Kind of a funny idea. I bent down, started to pick up twigs off the ground. Sam had his arms full. He stood over me, watching. Robby, he said, how come you make your main character a villain? Why not make a superhero instead? I just think villains are a lot more interesting, I said. A loud crackle from the bushes behind me made me jump. The twigs flew from my hands. What was that? Sam laughed. Squirrel, probably. Or a raccoon. We're in the woods, remember? Animals live in the woods. Just joking, I lied. Trying to scare you. Bent down to pick up the sticks I dropped, slowing my eyes wide. Let out a startled cry. No! I screamed. It's impossible! What's with all these cliffhanger things? Jesus. Chapter 4. Nice try, Sam said. You didn't scare me. Try again. No, you don't understand, I stammered. I'm not joking. Look. A strip of cloth was caught on a tree branch. Pulled it off, held it up for Sam to see. His dark eyes bulged. Leopard skin, he said in a whisper. Leopard skin, I said. It's like Dr. Maniac's cape. That's stupid, Sam said. What's that doing here? Left the strip of cloth in my jean pocket. I don't know. I'm gonna find out. Didn't tell Mom or Dad about the leopard skin cloth. Probably would think I'd put it there. Families always playing jokes on one another. Sometimes it's hard to know what to believe, what not to believe. We had a big campfire and cooked dinner on it. All roasted hot dogs except for Mom. She didn't eat meat. She grilled 2 soy burgers for herself. It looked kind of green and gross, but she said anything tastes fine cooked on a fire, especially if you drown it in ketchup. I don't know, soy products are pretty good. Well, whenever they're made right. After dinner, we goofed around. Dad told some really lame jokes. My favorite is about a boy who has a banana in his ear. Someone asks him, why do you have a banana in your ear? The boy answers, I can't hear you. I have a banana in my ear. Probably an old joke. I never heard it before, and it cracked me up. Taylor tried to make up some knock-knock jokes. It didn't make any sense. Sam and I had to beg her to stop. The moon floated low over the trees when we crawled into our tents to sleep. The night air was growing colder. Taylor, Sam, and I jammed into one tent. I snuggled deep into my sleeping bag. I tried pulling it over my head, but it was too short. Shut my eyes, ready to sleep. The sleeping bag next to me, Taylor sang softly to herself. Shut up, I whispered. Am I supposed to fall asleep? You know I like to sing, she replied. It's the only way I can go to sleep. Such a little freak. That's not the only weird thing she does. She also sleeps with her eyes wide open. Is that disturbing or what? I rolled over, turned my back to her. Outside the tent, I heard the whoo whoo of an owl. A gust of wind rattled the whole tent. Shut my eyes tight and tried to clear my mind. Not think about anything at all. Drifted off for a short while. Something woke me up. Sat up, blinking. My heart was pounding. Someone was walking outside the tent. I heard a low cough, soft thud of footsteps on the ground. I hear someone calling my name. With a shiver, I pulled myself out of the sleeping bag. Sam and Taylor were asleep. Taylor made little whistling sounds with each breath. I climbed to my knees and poked my head out of the tent. A pale yellow moon glowed high in the sky. A dark line of clouds like a snake cut it in half. Clouds covered the stars. The air felt heavy and damp. The footsteps were coming from the trees. I heard a voice shaking or speaking rapidly. What was it saying? I was half asleep, not thinking clearly. I pulled on my sneakers and crept out of the tent in my pajamas. Maybe I was sleepwalking or something. I don't know. I left our tents behind, walked across the clearing to the trees. Side on a story? Yep. Certainly did. Also, hi, Mr. Mustache. Yeah, we're reading the 5th Goosebumps HorrorLand book, Dr. Maniac vs. Robby Schwartz. Welcome to the stream. I hope work's going well for you. Or, well, I hope it gets better, considering what you told me earlier. I followed the sounds into the woods. I didn't know who was there. Why he was calling my name. It has to be Dad, I suddenly realized. There's no one else camping near us, of course. Dad. Playing one of his dumb tricks. I stopped in the shadow in front of the trees, froze when I saw a figure slither out. Moving quickly, he slid towards me. "Dad!" I called, my voice high and shrill. "It's all work. It's its own horror story. I imagine. Yeah, you mentioned people liking to screw each other up more than they want to actually work together and get shit done. That doesn't exactly lead to a good work environment. Then I saw the cape, the leopard skin cape, flutter in the wind. Dr. Maniac stepped into the moonlight. He was carrying a dead squirrel. "Dad, where are you?" The beer drawer of the fridge is empty, so I'm kinda scared. They're in the middle of the woods right now. Quick rundown. Main character is Robby Schwartz. He does little comic strips. His main villain is Dr. Maniac. And yeah, that's where we're at. And Dad made a mad dash home. "You're real?" I said. My voice came out in a choked whisper. "It's impossible." "Eat this dead squirrel," Dr. Maniac said. His eyes bugged out. He grinned from ear to ear. His voice was low, from deep in his chest. The gold M on his shirt glowed in the moonlight. "It's crazy," I said. "You don't exist. I made you up." "Eat the squirrel, Robby," he repeated. He raised a decaying squirrel in both hands. "Stay up, stalling. I want to see how brave you are." "Me? Brave?" I choked out. "You crazy?" "I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac," he boomed. "Eat it. Eat the squirrel." He shoved it in my face. Ugh. A sour smell poured into my nostrils. The squirrel's fur was bristly and hard and scratched my cheeks. My stomach lurched. I started to gag. "Go on," Dr. Maniac said. "Show me how brave you are. Are you the brave one, or is it your brother Sam?" "Sam? You're crazy. No way," I screamed. Staggered back away from the sick smell. Away from the hard, bristled body pressing against my skin. I rubbed my nose. I wiped my face with both hands, trying to rub away the horrible feeling of the dead creature. "Oh my god, the thing I made up came true. Sure hope I don't get jumped by a big boob forest ghost next. Any minute now." God damn it. I rubbed my nose, wiped my face with both hands, trying to rub away the horrible feeling of the dead creature. Then I raised my eyes to Dr. Maniac. He held the squirrel in one hand and brushed his cape back with the other. He stared hard at me, studied me. "Okay," he muttered. Okay. I guess I'm the brave one." He raised the dead squirrel to his face and chomped into its belly. He stood staring at me, chewing loudly, chewing the dead meat. He took another big bite and chewed some more. He made a loud gulp as he swallowed the rotten squirrel flesh. "Not bad," he said, "if you ignore the taste and the smell." He held it out to me. Mostly bones now. Most of the meat had been chewed away. "Want to try some? I saved you the head. The best part!" I grabbed my stomach. I started to barf. Somehow I forced it back down. "I'm gonna be sick," I muttered. Also, side note, saw that The Vatican actually made a chibi mascot not Catholic, but the moment I prayed as hard as I could for them to have mercy on the poor little missionary. Alright, I need to see this. We're gonna pause that for a moment. Let's see. Oh, she's cute. I doubt she'll be completely safe, but I don't see her design being co-opted too much unless people really, really are gung-ho about it. And I see that mostly out of spite. They're not... People who really hate the church are not going to have mercy. But we'll see how things go. Thanks to the hydrate, the internet will go after her. Poor little Christian girls like flies, like shit. We'll see. Oh, my book's blocking that. Thanks for the hydrate and the stretch, cat, yeah. The best she can hope for is to fly under the radar. Excuse me. No time for that, Robby boy, he said. You're coming with me. He tossed the squirrel into the trees. Huh? What are you saying? I gasped. My stomach heaved. You failed the bravery test, but you're coming with me, he said. You're going to help me destroy my enemy, the Purple Rage. My mouth dropped open. Now I know, you're crazy, I exclaimed. The Purple Rage's the angriest supervillain in history. He screams so hard even his breath is deadly. Dr. Maniac shrugged his powerful shoulders. So, tell me something I don't know. Well, what can I do to help? You'll see. And then grabbed my arm, spun me around. He squeezed his strong hand over my shoulders, started to drag me away. No, let go! Let go of me! I wailed. Go of me! Somebody! Help! Yep, like crazy. Like strawberries? If your name was Strawberry. Team 4-star. They make some great jokes. Chapter 6. Sam squinted at the screen as he read the newest comic strip on my laptop. Cool episode, he said. Then he laughed. Robby, when Dr. Maniac grabs you, you look like a frightened geek. Our friend Brooke nodded her head. Got that? You got that right, she said. You could feel your fear, Robby. Drawings get better and better. It was Sunday afternoon. The three of us were upstairs in my room, huddled around my desk as I showed off my newest Dr. Maniac strip. Yes, you probably figured out that Adventure in the Woods wasn't real. It was just another comic strip. Okay, we gotta jump now. Boss actually calling for me to clock back in. Fun. Have a good stream, Doppel. Bye, Mr. Mustache. Good luck. Brooke brushed her straight brown hair. She wears a very or with bangs across her forehead. Brooke is tiny and thin. Looks like a first grader even though she's 11. Sam's age. Sparkly blue eyes and a little turned up nose. Kids at school call her Elf, which she hates. She lives across the street. We've been friends since I was 4 and they were 3. Where'd you get the idea for the purple rage? She asked. I shrugged. No. Guess it was an angry mood, so I made up a new villain. I love villains. Why put so many in my comic strips? I pulled out my big sketchbook, turned my first drawing of the purple rage. I always do dozens of sketches of my characters in colored pencil before I can scan in my finished art. See? I held up some early sketches. First I made his cheeks bright red, show how angry he was. And I thought, maybe that wasn't enough. Flipped to the page to show the next drawing. He showed the purple rage in full costume, shaking a big purple gloved fist in front of him. See, dressed all in purple. Purple cape, purple tights. Always in a total rage, so his face gets bright red, and then he gets really mad, it turns purple. That's awesome, Sam said. He grabbed the sketchbook out of my hand. You have sketches of me in here? Grabbed it back. Why would I do sketches of you? I said. I already know what you look like. I hate the way you draw me, Sam groaned. Look like a turtle. Grow a few inches, I said. I'll draw you like a tall turtle. Brooke didn't laugh. Short people can be superheroes too, she said. I took the sketchbook away on the shelf. For sure, I said. I'll put you in the strip, Brooke. Wonder Elf. I'll draw you standing under a toadstool. Thought that was funny, but Brooke didn't laugh. Then she grabbed my hair with both hands, pulled as hard as she could. Let her just screech. Wonder Elf defeats the mutant for the hair planet, Brooke cried, pumped her fist in the air. Tried to smooth my hair, but it didn't go down. Bounced right back up. How's your family camping trip? Brooke asked. You just got back, right? It was okay, I said. A lot of nature and stuff. Boring, Sam groaned. He sat down at my laptop, started tapping away at the keyboard. Hey, what are you doing? I asked. My computer crashed. Brooke and I want to play battle chess. Fine, no problem, just use mine. Don't ask or anything. Thanks, Sam said, typing away. Brooke pulled out a chair beside him and sat down. The opening screen appeared. Full music, floating chess pieces, all carrying guns. Sam and Brooke had to be the only 2 kids in America who play this game. I hurried downstairs, see Mom and Dad through the front window. They're on their knees, planting seeds in the flower garden by the driveway. Sure do love being outdoors. I walked into the kitchen, pulled a bag of nacho chips from the cabinet. I grabbed a can of Coke from the fridge, started in to see if any good movies were on cable. I dropped on the couch when I heard a noise upstairs. Loud crash. High scream of horror. Brooke scream. Coke can fell from my hands, rolled across the din rug, tossed the nacho chips onto the couch, and took off running. I bolted up the stairs and ran down the hall to my room. Brooke, what's wrong? I cried. What happened? Someone had slid the bedroom door wide open. Or bedroom window wide open. Curtains were blowing out. Brooke stood by the window with both hands pressed against her face. Her eyes were wide with fright. What happened? I repeated. What was that crash? Sam, she stammered, pointing to the open window. Robby, Sam is gone! Chapter 7. A few minutes later, Mom and Dad were staring at Brooke, shaking their heads. Their hands were still dirty from the garden. Dad had a wide dirt smear from his sweaty forehead. I am telling the truth, Brooke screamed. Did I make something like this up? Dad waved both hands in front of him. Shh. Calm down, everyone. Calm down. Did you call 911? Mom asked. Folded her arms around her chest. See how scared she was. Chin was trembling. Yes, the police are on their way, Dad said. I sat next to Brooke on my bed, kept staring at the open window. Brooke's story rolled through my mind again and again. Dad wiped his forehead with his shirt sleeve. Tell us again, he said to Brooke. Toward the beginning. Think hard, Brooke. Tell us what really happened. I told you what really happened, Brooke insisted. Her voice cracked. She was breathing hard. But how can we believe... Mom started. Brooke interrupted. I swear, she cried, raising her right hand as if taking an oath. Tell us again, Dad said softly. Brooke took a deep breath. Started talking in a trembled voice. Sam and I were playing battle chess on Robby's laptop. I heard a noise at the window and turned around and Dr. Maniac flew into the room. Still hugging herself, Mom squinted hard at Brooke. Dr. Maniac. Robby's comic character. You're telling us a comic character flew in the window. Brooke swallowed hard. Yes, he landed right in front of us, grabbed Sam and pulled him off his chair. I tried to save him, but I wasn't fast enough. Dr. Maniac dragged him across the room, then he flew out the window with him. Brooke started to sob. Her whole body shuddered. Dad stepped forward, patted her shoulder to calm her. His hand left a round dirt smear on her sleeve. Okay, he whispered. Mom started pacing back and forth. Brooke, Robby made up Dr. Maniac, she said. He's a comic strip character. You do realize he isn't real. Brooke let out a sob, wiped her wet cheek with her hand. I know you don't believe me, she choked out, but he was real, he was here, and he took Sam with him. But Brooke, that's impossible, Mom said. She leaned over Brooke. Don't be afraid to tell us what really happened. Tell us the truth. Whoa, wait, I cried. My heart skipped a beat. Looked at something on the floor in front of the open window. Jumped off the bed, across the room, picked it up. 2 feathers. 2 yellow feathers. Mom, Dad, I shouted. Held up the feathers. Dr. Maniac has yellow feathers on his boots, I said. We all stared at the feathers. Brooke jumped off the bed, strode over to me, took the feathers from my hand. I told you! I told you! Mom opened her mouth to say something. Noise downstairs stopped her. Loud thuds in the front door. Police! A deep voice shouted. Police! Please open the door! We found your son! Chapter 8. Oh, thank goodness, Mom cried. I found him, Dad exclaimed. 4 of us went running to the bedroom door. In a traffic jam of arms and legs, we tried to squeeze out the door at the same time. Mom and Dad practically flew down the stairs. Brooke and I followed close behind, gasping for breath as Dad pulled open the front door. Stared at 2 black uniformed police officers. They stood on the front step with a boy I've never seen before. Mom let out a cry. Her eyes bulged. She stared at the boy. He was tall and athletic looking. Curly brown hair, green eyes, freckles on his cheeks. You're not Sam, she yelled. I told them, the boy said. My name's Jerome. Rolled his eyes. Come, no one ever believes kids. This isn't your son? One of the officers asked. Mom and Dad shook their head. Where do you live? On Brentwood, Jerome said. Near the old library. My bike had a flat tire and was trying to walk home. So when you stopped me. Take Jerome home, the officer told his partner. Sorry, son. Turning to my parents. I'm Officer Rawls. I'm really sorry about the mix-up. Let's go inside and straighten this out. So we all trooped into the living room. 4 of us sat on the end of the couch. Officer Rawls leaned against the mantelpiece, took notes on a little pad. Brooke began her story. Before she could get very far, the door opened and Taylor stepped in the room. Back from pasties, she called. Soon saw the police officer stop with a gasp. Oh, what's up? Sam is missing, Mom told her. Come here, sit down with me. Brooke is going to tell the officer what happened. So Brooke told her story again. By the time she finished, Officer Rawls had his cap off, scratching his short brown hair and blinking his eyes a lot. Taylor walked over to Brooke. Hello, she said. Are you and Sam playing a practical joke on us? I said our whole family likes to play jokes, except for Mom, of course, so naturally that's the first thing Taylor thought of. It's not a joke, Brooke whispered. Tears rolled down her cheeks again. Really, not a joke. Taylor went pale. Mouth dropped open. Stared hard at Brooke. Officer Rawls placed his cap on his head. Glanced at the little notepad in his hand. Turned back to Brooke. Brooke, please listen to me, he said. I want you to think long and hard about this. See how upset Sam's family is. When you think about what happened up in Robby's room, tell us one more time. Brooke let out a loud sigh and then began telling her story again. Couldn't sit still. Felt sick. My stomach was bubbling and churning. Picturing that open window, kept seeing my little brother's pudgy, smiling face. I'd never see him again. Wandered to the den, heard voices. TV was on. Talk show my mom likes. Stars this big man with bright red hair. Straight up, stands straight on his head. Red Martinson. I hate Red Martinson. He laughs at his own jokes. Thinks he's a real riot. Oh, thinks he's cute. Reached for a remote to turn off the TV. So tell me, Martinson was saying to a guest, how do you feel about things now? Let out a sharp cry when I saw the guest. Boat fell from my hand. I can't believe it, I gasped. I was staring at the Purple Rage. Red Martinson's guest was my comic character. The Purple Rage. How do I feel about things? The Rage boomed. I'm angry! Know that everything pinches my pianos? Everything! I'm angry about everything! His face turned as purple as his costume. His eyes were red and looked like they were about to pop out of his head. I'm angry! He shouted and thumped his big red fist on Red Martinson's desk. Most of our viewers won't believe you're real, Martinson said. Do something super to prove you're real. You're the real deal. That burns my bubble blower! The Rage screamed. That makes me even angrier. How could I be on TV if I'm not real? Then his face turned an even darker purple. Only a superhero could turn that purple. I gasped, seeing in disbelief. The Rage. Real? How could that be? Mom and Dad have got to see this. Definitely. Breathlessly, I spun away from the TV, ran back in the living room. Brooke was telling her story. Officer Rawls was writing on his little pad. Ran up to Mom and Dad. Hurry, I screamed. In the other room, on TV. Pulled them towards the den. My other comic character, I cried. You'll see, it's the Purple Rage for real. Followed me into the den, pointed to the TV. So what are your plans for the future? Red Martinson was asking. I'm glad you asked that question, the guest replied. Huh? My mouth dropped open. Where'd the Purple Rage go? The guest was a white-haired man in a gray suit with a red necktie. That's Congressman McClure, Dad said. Robby, why'd you pull us in here to see Congressman McClure? Chapter 9. My whole body was shaking. I stared at the screen. How could the Purple Rage disappear like that? Mom rested her hand on my shoulder. Robby, you know how upset you are, she said. You know how much you care about your brother, but don't make it worse by making up crazy stories. But, I sputtered. Brain was spinning. Couldn't speak. Officer Rawls said he had to leave. Those stick around. Us all to stick around. Said he would send his crime-scene people to study the yard and the whole house. Promised he'd come back. Mom went to Taylor's room to comfort her. Pulled Brooke aside. Don't believe me, Brooke said, her voice cracking. Don't believe me either, I said. I know I'm not crazy. The Purple Rage was on TV. I saw him. Brooke shook her head. Maybe we are crazy. I mean, comic book characters coming to life. Started at the front door. You coming with me, I asked. Shelled back. Huh? Where? The TV station, I said. Rage might still be there. Huh? The TV station? Robby, do you know where it is? Yes, I said. Remember, our school went there last year to be on the kids' show. Pulled open the front door. Bright sunlight poured over me. You coming or not? I asked Brooke. She thought for a few seconds, biting her bottom lip. Okay, she said. Let's go. We took a bus to the Middle Meadows Mall. The WSTR, our TV station, was in a big green glass building behind the mall. Brooke and I stepped in the green glass door at the front, pushed the bell. The door buzzed, pulled it open. We walked to the reception area. A blonde-haired woman in a bright orange lipstick sat behind in the front desk. She wore a black business suit with a crisp white blouse and a sparkly starfish pin on her jacket. WSTR is the starfish station. Don't ask me why. My throat felt tight as I hurried up to her desk. My hands were sweaty. I tried to brush down my wild and woolly hair. Look more businesslike. "Can we see Red Mortison?" I asked. She studied me, then Brooke. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked. Shook my head. "No, but it's really important," I said. "We just want to ask him one question," Brooke said. "Are you with the school newspaper?" the woman asked. Tapped a pencil on her desk. Yes," I lied. "We want to interview Mr. Martin for our paper." "Well, you need an appointment for that," the woman replied. "But," I started. "Was the Purple Rage here?" Brooke asked. "We just want to know if the Purple Rage was on his show." Woman stopped tapping her pencil. Took a clipboard, ran down her top page. "See, chef, might want to try the cooking show." Let out a sigh. "You don't understand," I said. "He isn't a chef, he's a supervillain. I thought I made him up, but I saw him on TV, so maybe he's real. And if he's real..." She squinted at me. Are you making any sense?" "I don't think so." I heard someone coming from the metal staircase beyond the reception. "Hey!" Oh, sorry, I thought that was someone else. "Hey!" I cried as Fred Martinson stepped out. He wasn't dressed like he was in the show. Wore jeans, black and red t-shirt that said Cleveland Rocks. Red hair still stood straight up like an evergreen tree on his head. Waited to the receptionist, started the front door. Then suddenly stopped, turned to face me. "Hey, I like your hairstyle, kid," he said to me. Laughed. "You copying me?" "Yes," I blurted out. "No, Mr. Marshall, we came to see you." "Sorry," he said. "I left my autograph photos in my dressing room. Can you come back? I'm in a rush." Brooke hurried over to him, grabbed his arm. "Was the Purple Rage just on your show?" she asked. Martin nodded. "Yes," he said. "At first I thought it was a joke. Trudy really was a supervillain. So I put him on the show. Enjoy my interview?" Martin started to pout. "Where is he?" I cried. "Is he still here? Where'd he go?" Morrison shrugged. "Had to fly somewhere," he said. "Went up to the roof to take off." I didn't wait. I spun around and I ran. Brushed past the startled receptionist and grabbed the metal banister and began running up the winding staircase. "Stop!" she cried. "Hey, stop! You can't go up there!" My shoes clanged to the metal stairs. I heard Brooke running behind me. Where were we headed? Could we get to the roof from here? Was the Purple Rage still up there? "Stop!" the receptionist screamed. "Security! Security! Stop them!" Reached the second floor and kept climbing. The stairway straightened down. The stairs were concrete up here. I could hear the heavy thuds of men's shoes behind us, coming up fast. "Stop!" a man yelled. "Security! Stop right there!" Angry voices echoed in the narrow hallway. My chest felt about to explode. But my legs ached. I kept climbing, taking the stairs two at a time. Third floor went by, then the fourth. Gasped for breath, I glanced back. "Brooke!" No, not there. Even right behind me. One of the security guards grabbed her. "Brooke!" I shouted. "Brooke!" My cries echoed down the stairway. No reply. My legs felt like heavy weights. Chest and side throbbed with pain. Kept pulling myself up the steps. "Stop now! You can't get away! Stop running!" Voices boomed close behind me. Finally, I reached the top of the stairs. A broad yellow door stood at the end. I lowered my shoulder, heaved, and shoved it open. With a gasp, I stumbled out into the bright sunlight. I fell onto the flat tar or papered roof. Landed hard on my knees. Blinking in the light, I saw a blur of purple. Just a brief flash. 1 second glimpse of a purple cape. "Wait!" I choked out. My voice cracked in a whisper. Purple Rage. It had to be him. Jumped to my feet and staggered to the edge of the roof. "Wait!" I screamed, a little louder this time. Jumped to the edge of the roof. Leaned over the side to see the Purple Rage. Whoa! I leaned too far. Happened so fast. 1 second I was leaning out over the edge. Next second, the roof seemed to slide out from under my feet. I was falling. Chapter 11. The building soared past me in a gray blur. The powerful rush of wind chilled my back. I fell so fast I could hear my own screams. Down, down in a bright blur. No time to ready myself for the crash. The burst of pain that would end my life. And then, boom! I hit hard. Pain shot through my arms, my neck, and my back. My head bounced up. The sky appeared to wrap itself around me like a blue blanket. No. Purple. A purple blanket gripped me tightly. Then a red face, a grim, tight-lipped expression. Huh? Took me a moment to realize I hadn't hit the ground. Still in the air. Held up in the air by the purple rage. Yes. One arm under my leg, the other on my shoulder, lifting me into the sky. Cape was fluttering noisily in the wind. His dark eyes gazed straight ahead, and down as we started to descend. Powerful arms held me tightly against his massive purple chest. The purple rays swooped up and rescued me. He floated to the sidewalk, cape fluttering behind me, set me gently on my feet. Pretty nice for a villain. I was shaking so hard I dropped on my knees. I knew my hair was standing straight up, wild around my face. I swallowed again and again, struggling to catch my breath. Rage pulled me to my feet, held me up by my shoulder. His eyes burned into mine. "I want to know what paddles my pancakes," he boomed. His voice was so loud and deep, it made pigeons squawk and fly off the sidewalk. "Kids who fall off buildings, that puts me in a rage!" "Sorry," I stammered. "Were you chasing me?" he bellowed. "No," I choked out, my heart still hammering in my chest. "Not exactly." I stared back at him. Was I dreaming? This wasn't a comic strip. It was real life. There he was in front of me. Purple gloves held me by my shoulders. His eyes glared at me angrily. A character I created. I need your help," I said, finally finding my voice. "My brother, Sam, is missing. I think Dr. Maniac took him." The purple rays tossed back his head and uttered an angry roar. His eyes blazed red like fire, and he curled his hands into a big fist. "My sworn enemy!" he roared. "You say your brother has teamed up with my sworn enemy?" "No, that's not what I said," I replied. He roared like a furious beast again and drowned out my words. "Listen to me," I begged. He lifted himself off the ground, spun around and kicked a store window with the toe of his purple boot. I ducked as glass shattered and flew everywhere. The rays kicked out a few more store windows, turned back to me, his big chest heaving. "How could your brother team up with that Maniac?" he screamed. "I heard that Dr. Maniac teams up with the Scarlet Scarlet! Or Scarlet Starlet!" I don't know," I stammered. "Scarlet Starlet. I drew her in my first comic strip. She real too." I took a deep breath. "Are you gonna help me?" I asked. That sent him in another rage. His face as purple as his costume. He grabbed the front of my shirt and lifted me off the sidewalk. "Dr. Maniac sent you to spy on me, didn't he?" he boomed. His hot breath burned my eyebrows. No, I said. "Liar!" he screamed. He gazed up to the top of the building. "Wonder if I could toss you back up to the roof?" "No, please!" His fist tightened on the front of my t-shirt, raised me above his head. "Please, I only want your help!" I wailed. "Don't throw me, don't!" I glanced around. Wasn't there anyone around to help me? No, the street was empty. "Looking for your friend, Dr. Maniac?" the rage cried. "Sorry, kid, it's too late to save you." He pulled back his arm and heaved me with all his strength. "No!" I screamed again as I went flying up the sky. My scream caught in my throat. Couldn't breathe. The wind rushed too hard against my face, sailed straight up, my arms and legs thrashing. Shut my eyes, slammed hard into the side of the building. Boom! My breath shot out in a whoosh. The pain swept out of my chest. Over my chest, I choked and gasped for air, kept my eyes shut, and waited to die. counted to myself. 1, 2, 3. On 3, I felt another thud. I opened my eyes. I saw the red-faced supervillain staring at me. Purple Rage had caught me, saved me again. As he flew, he held me in front of him like a loaf of bread.
Change my mind, kid, he shouted. It was good to see the old arm still in shape. I could probably throw you to the next town.
Are you going to? You're not going to, are you? I asked. He floated to the ground and set me down again. I bent over, grabbed my knees, waited for the breathing to return to normal. Tried to brush down my hair with both hands, but sprang right back up. After today's adventures, I knew it would probably never come back down. That mean you'll help me find my brother?
Purple Rage nodded. I'll make it my mission. I can't leave him in the hands of my sworn enemy.
Awesome, I said.
Yes, I am awesome,
he declared, sticking out his big chest.
Do you know what really snaps my shorts? When other people tell me how awesome I am, because I already know it!
He grabbed a lamppost and bent it in two. Sorry, I muttered. This is also totally weird. Squinted at me.
Weird?
Yes, I said. Do you know that I created you?
No!
The rage bellowed fiercely.
You liar! I was created by a scream from the mouth of the ancient god Thor!
Before I could move, he grabbed me up with both hands, holding me in front of him. And as he took off, the wind blew against my face. Behind me, I could hear his purple cape snapping against the air. He soared higher above the cars, above the buildings. Where are we going? Where are we going? I screamed to the wind. What are you doing? We flew towards the sun with a blinding white light. I shielded my eyes with one hand, tried not to look down, but I couldn't help it. Far below us was a freight train, rolled by on the North Hill tracks. It looked like one of those toy trains people set up in their basements. Buildings all looked like dollhouses. Please, I begged. Why is he so angry? What did I say to put him in such a rage? Then I remembered. He was always in a rage. And near the edge of town, suddenly swooped lower. A building came to view, hidden by tall evergreen trees. It's a round stone. Wooden building shaped like an igloo. No windows, a low door in the front. The building was completely surrounded by trees. Was it his hidden fortress? I hadn't created a hidden fortress for him. I hadn't created any of this. All was happening without me, beyond my control. We dropped lower, ducked my head as the purple rage roared into the open door. It's like a huge dark cave inside. We flew down, down. The air grew heavy and wet. I blinked hard, waiting for my eyes to adjust. He dropped me onto my feet and watched his cape settle behind him. He swept back his dark hair with both gloved hands and pulled off the gloves and tossed them against the wall.
Know what really tweaks my tutu? He shouted. Dead leaves in my hair! How am I supposed to fly with leaves in my perfect hair?
Don't know, I muttered. Where are we? I asked in a tiny voice. He didn't answer. He moved to a wall and began clicking on the lights. I glanced around. Stood in a large underground cavern. Walls were solid stone. The room was filled with camera equipment and spotlights. I saw a table filled with computers. 2 TV cameras stood side by side next to a microphone on a long pole. Is this like a TV studio? I asked. The rage didn't answer. He was busy fiddling with the computer. Typed frantically on a keyboard, then moved to another. Pointed to a TV camera at a glass case against the wall. Something moved inside the big case. I walked over and gazed through the glass. Dozens of dark, spiny creatures crawled all over each other. What are those? I asked, pointing.
Scorpions,
the purple rage answered. You keep a huge glass case filled with scorpions? My voice came out as shrill and tight. But what do you do with them?
You'll see,
he muttered. He had moving lights towards the case. I watched the scorpions sliding and crawling, scraping, snapping their claws at each other. You look hungry, I said. A strange, unpleasant smile spread over his face.
I'm going to feed them in a minute, he said.
What do you feed them? He tossed back his head and laughed.
You!
He said. Chapter 13. But, I sputtered. You said you were going to help me find Sam. He turned some dials on the big control board. Red lights flickered. Machines started to hum.
I shall keep my promise,
he said. He turned to me.
No, it really honks my horses?
No, what? I said, unable to take my eyes off the scrabbling, snapping scorpions.
People get tense about me keeping my promises,
he screamed, pulled back his arm and smashed his fist into the wall. The wall cracked. Muttering to himself, he dusted off his hand, strode over, picked me up, set me down in front of a TV camera.
Stand there, kid. Don't move, he said.
No problem, I whispered. What are you going to do? Punched more keys in the computer.
I'm going to interrupt all TV channels and websites in the city. Everyone will have the pleasure of watching the world's best-looking supervillain, me.
I didn't say a word. I didn't want to make him smash the wall again. I wonder if he really planned to help me find Sam. Need some water. He stepped behind the cameras and raised the lens a few inches, and he moved in front of it. He stuck out his chest, swept back his cape, and cleared his throat.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Purple Rage,
he announced. He motioned to me.
And this kid is named...
Thought hard, gazing into the camera, turned to me.
What's your name, kid?
Robby Schwartz, I said. Waved a fist to me.
Your dad, Bucky Schwartz, the guy who owns the dry cleaners on Spring Street? Last time I brought my tights in, he shrunk them.
No, my dad is Norman Schwartz, I said. He's a lawyer. Rage turned back to the TV cameras.
Sorry to interrupt your day, everyone,
he said.
I want you to watch me as I drop Robby to a 7-foot-tall case of stinging scorpions.
Huh, I guess? It's your plan for helping me? He moved his face up close to the camera lens.
Let this be a warning, Dr. Maniac, and to anyone else who dares to challenge the Purple Rage.
Then he grumbled. No, then he grabbed me under his arms and lifted me off the ground. Whoa, wait, I cried. What's your promise? Is this your plan to help me find my brother?
Of course, he said. When your brother sees you're about to be stung to death by these scorpions, don't you think he'll escape from Dr. Maniac and come to rescue you?
Maybe there's a better plan? I cried. The Rage didn't reply. I cried. The Rage didn't reply. Instead, he raised me above his head and tossed me into the glass case. I landed in a sitting position. Scorpion shells squished and cracked beneath me. Before I could move, scorpions rolled their shiny dark shells over my legs. The creatures never stopped moving. They felt warm and dry and prickly against my skin. I struggled to stand, but I slid and slipped on the wriggling, hard bodies. I cried out as the scorpions scabbled over my wrists. Tried to swat it off me, lost my balance, and fell on my back. As soon as I was down, they swarmed over me. Their shells cracked and bumped as they covered me. Clacked and bumped as they covered me. Pincers snipped the air, snapping wildly. Help! I muttered. And I remembered 2 words that sent a cold shudder down my body. Scorpions sting. Yes, one sting from poisonous scorpion could kill. So far, they climbed over me, covered me, crawling and snapping. One sting. Just one. Carefully pulling a scorpion off my chest, I struggled to my knees, pressed my hands against the front of the glass case. On the other side of the glass, I could see the Purple Rage. He stood in front of the TV cameras, kept pounding his chest with his fist, talking away. "Get me out of here!" I shouted. The glass muffled my voice. He didn't want to hear or care. Why didn't I create some heroes? I asked myself. Why did I only create villains? Ow! Pulled a prickly scorpion from under the back of my t-shirt. 2 scorpion pinchers snapped at my arms. All around me sounded like scissors snipping, snapping, snapping. One sting and I was dead meat. Even if Sam was watching this somewhere on TV, even if he was somehow able to escape the clutches of Dr. Maniac and come to my rescue, it'd be too late. I knew I had to break out of this case. Purple Rage wasn't going to help me. I had to escape on my own. But how? I beat my fist against the glass. No way I could break it with my hands. I lowered my shoulder and ran the glass with it. No way. I could get any speed. I was knee-deep in scorpions. And if I dropped on my back and kicked the glass? No. I couldn't kick it hard enough to break it. Scorpions wrapped around my waist. A pincer reached up and snapped at my neck. Missed me by an inch. How could I escape? How? Silly idea. A frantic, desperate idea. My only chance. Chapter 15. I batted away a snapping scorpion. I struggled to my knees, gathered up all my strength, reached hands up, jumped as high as I could, and grabbed the top of the case. 7 feet tall, above my head. No way I could climb out. Pulled my head up above the edge, shouted to the Purple Rage. "You geek! You cream puff, you wimp!" He went on talking to the camera, thumped his chest, talked about how angry he was. "You dumb creep, you fat wimp!" I shouted. That got his attention. He looked at me.
What did you say?
"You baby, you worm!" I screamed. "You're no match for the incredible Dr. Maniac!" He stomped up to the case. His eyes flamed red and his face turned purple.
"Know what crunch is, my credenza?"
he boomed.
"You do. How dare you?"
"You're pitiful!" I cried, hoisting myself up to the top of the case. "You're dirt! You're roadkill!" His eyes bulged, his mouth flew open, his nostrils flared, and his teeth began to chatter. I waited for his head to explode. Instead, he let out a roar.
"Face the power of my breath of fury!"
he boomed. Purple Rage sucked in a deep breath, so deep his chest popped out like a beach ball. Then he blew his breath of fury, a hurricane-force wind at the case. The glass shattered. Shards crashed and clattered in all directions. Scorpions went sailing out of the cage and flew to the wall, flailing their pincers. The force of the breath made me do a backward somersault, toppled out of the cage onto the floor. It took me a few seconds to gain my balance. Then I spun to my feet. My escape plan had worked. The other case. Now I really had to escape. Snarling like an angry dog, the Purple Rage dove for me. With a cry, I grabbed 2 scorpions, heaved them at him and took off running. He let out a roar. I felt his breath of fury on my back. It pushed me out the door into a long underground hallway. The hall was lined on both sides by big colored photos of the Purple Rage. As I ran past him, his face stared out angrily in the picture after picture. I could hear his thudding footsteps behind me, catching up fast.
"This really grinds my goatee!"
he bellowed.
"Come back, kid. I'm only trying to help you."
Help me? Help me feed his scorpions? I reached the door at the end of the hall, twisted the knob and shoved it open. It led to a wide dressing room. As I ran through it, I saw an open closet on both sides. Hanging in the closet dangled pair after pair of purple tights and bodysuits. A small closet at the end was piled high with purple boots. The Rage thundered after me. I grabbed a handful of boots and tossed them into his path. He stomped over them and kept coming, screaming and snarling. I found another hallway and ran faster. A dark wooden door stood at the end of the hall. Gasping for breath, I flung the door open and stepped through. My feet kicked air. Nothing beneath them. No floor, no ground. Whoa! Let out a startled cry. Hands flew above my head and I dropped straight down. Dropped hard into a deep darkness. I landed with a splash. Icy water rose over me. I held my breath as I sank into it. A sewer. It didn't take long to figure out I had dropped to the deep, fast-flowing sewer. Sewer water was thick and lumpy, like old pea soup. Thrashed my hands and legs. Struggled to stay afloat. My hands splashed against the chunks of rotten garbage. Ugh! Smelled like a week-old vomit. Started to choke and gag. Reached for the sewer wall with both hands. The current swept me up and pulled me away. A dead rat floating beside me? No, only a rat's head. My stomach lurched. The current pulled harder, carried me into the darkness. Crashed against the sewer wall. Bounced off. Tried to kick away. Crashed again. Putrid, disgusting water splashing over my head. Felt myself sink under the surface. Tried to pull myself up. Panic froze my body. Couldn't think. Couldn't move. My chest throbbed. Couldn't breathe. Drowning. I was gonna drown, I realized. Drown in the putrid, swirling gunk. Chapter 16. Finally, I got my legs moving. Kicked hard and rose to the surface, sputtering and gasping, shaking the thick, gloppy sewage from my eyes. I spotted something up ahead, something jutting from the sewer wall. A ladder. Yes, a ladder! I see it glowing in a beam of yellow light. A way out. I held my breath as the current carried me closer and closer. Made a desperate grab for it. Missed. Grabbed again. This time I caught the second rung. Holding on with both hands. Pulled my body up from the water. Yes, yes! My cries were hoarse and weak. Shoes slid off the slimy metal rungs. Held on with both hands, gasping for breath. Lift myself out, rung by rung. It seemed to take forever. Body felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Reached the top, hoisted myself through the sewer gate and onto the street. I pressed my hands on my knees and struggled to catch my breath. Water rolled off me. My wet t-shirt clung onto my skin. Pulled a pukey brown blob of goo out of my tangled, matted hair. It smelled as if it had been sprayed by 100 skunks. Wiping sewage off my face, pushed my hair back and gazed around. Street sign in the corner read, Wayne Street. Hey, I uttered a cry. It's like 2 blocks from home. Didn't have the strength to run. Half walked, half dragged myself from the front lawn all the way to my house. Trudged up the driveway. Thought about Brooke. Probably escaped those security guards, I decided. Probably safe at home. Front door swung open as I limped to the front walk. Mom cried out, her dark eyes wide with surprise. Robby! She cried. Where were you? She studied me up and down. Pressed her hands against my cheek. Oh my, she muttered. You've been swimming. No, I choked out. It's a long story. Robby, you stink to high heaven. Why'd you run away? What on earth have you been doing? Wanted to tell her everything. She didn't give me a chance. Grabbed me by my hair and tugged me into the house. Go upstairs. Take off these disgusting wet clothes. Take a shower. No, 2 showers. You reek. Never smelled anything so bad in all my life. I can't explain, I choked out. Mom's some really weird stuff after me today. Not now, she said. Go take a shower first. Leave you wandered off with your brother Sam missing. But... Phone rang. Mom hurried across the room to answer it. She began talking softly. After a few seconds, she turned pale. Shoulders slumped. Shook her head. Mom, what is it? I asked, hurrying over to her. What's wrong? Set down the phone. I don't believe it, she muttered. What? I cried. What happened? That was Brooke's mom. Brooke is missing too. Chapter 17. I spent a long time in the shower. Soaped myself again and again. Wonder if I could ever wash the smell off my skin. Shower gave me time to think about Brooke. Came me to the TV station. Followed me that wild chase up the stairs to the roof. Never made it to the roof. TV security guys grab her? They did. They wouldn't keep her for long. So where was she? Can I go back to the TV station and search for her? Dry myself out and smell my arms. No trace of sewer rot. Thinking about Sam and Brooke. walked to my room, pulled on jeans and a clean t-shirt. The purple rage take Brooke away. No way. She never stepped on the roof. The rage never saw Brooke. Shook out my wet hair, brushed it back with both hands. I passed my desk, saw my laptop was on, squinted at the screen. What was that? Something I'd never seen before. I leaned on the desk and lowered my gaze to the screen. Huh? A gasp escaped my throat. I stared at a comic strip in bold colors. I recognized the character. Dr. Maniac. Drawn in my style, but new. A new Dr. Maniac comic. My mouth dropped open in shock as I started to read it. What's up with this? I cried. How can there be a new strip? I didn't draw this one! Chapter 18. The strip showed Dr. Maniac standing on a city street. His leopard skin cape fell behind his shoulders. He raised a gloved fist at the reader. I'm going to kidnap every kid in the city, he bragged in the dialogue balloon above his head. Every kid in the city, one by one. I'm going to make them ice skate 24 hours a day. It'll be the biggest ice show in history. In the next panel, Dr. Maniac had an evil grin on his face. Do you know how much money that will bring in? You're crazy, said a character beside him. Yeah. Hold on. I guess this was a risk. I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac. The evil villain boomed. My great ice show and all singing, all skating's gonna make me the richest maniac on earth. I scrolled down to see the rest of the comic strip. In the panel, Dr. Maniac bellowed, I'll call it Maniac on Ice. I love it. I love show business. He pulled two kids into view. Leaning onto my desk, I stared at the glow of the laptop screen. I cried out in disbelief. Sam and Brooke! He grabbed each one of them under an arm and took off. He flew them to a large brick building at the edge of town. The building looked familiar. I knew I'd seen it before. A sign on one wall read, Public swimming pool. Danger. No lifeguard on duty. My heart pounded as I kept reading. Dr. Maniac carried Sam and Brooke to the indoor pool and dropped them on the side, surrounded by yellow-tinted walls. No one else there. Stared at the pool. The water had been frozen. It was solid ice, a skating rink. Dr. Maniac handed the ice skates to Sam and Brooke. Lace them up tight, he ordered. Start skating back and forth. For how long? For how long? Sam asked. For as long as your nose! Dr. Maniac explained, then tossed his head back and laughed his hyena laugh. That doesn't make any sense. You're crazy, Brooke cried. As crazy as the monkey in a meatball factory, he screamed. I got millions of them. Sam and Brooke laced up their skates. They had no choice. Then Dr. Maniac pushed them onto the ice. They started skating the length of the long swimming pool, back and forth. Dr. Maniac grinned again. They'll keep you too busy, he said. 24 hours a day. The audience will love it. Now I'm just going to add all the other kids in town to our little skating troupe. What a good show! Leaning forward, Sam and Brooke skated side by side. They kept casting frightened glances at each other. Both looked terrified. I tried to scroll down and see more. That's where the comic strip ended. For a long time, I stood there, staring at the screen. My mind was doing flip-flops. Couldn't believe what I'd seen. How could this be the new Dr. Maniac strip? I didn't draw. Or how could there be a new Dr. Maniac strip that I didn't draw? The characters I create really come to life. Sam and Brooke really disappeared. What was real? What was just a comic strip? I suddenly felt dizzy. This was too hard to figure out. My head started to ache. Ran to the head of the stairs. "Mom!" I shouted. "Come upstairs! Hurry! I want to show you something!" A few seconds later, Mom started up the stairs. Behind her, I saw the policeman who had been here earlier, Officer Rawls. Reached the top of the stairs. Stared at me coldly. "Robby, you're in serious trouble." Mom started to say something, but Rawls raised his hand to silence her. "Your brother and your friend has both disappeared," he said. "Why'd you run away this afternoon? I think you know a lot more than you're letting on." He stuck his face up close to mine. "Robby," he said, "you better start talking now." Chapter 19. I stepped back. "I didn't run away," I said. Robby, you have to tell us everything you know," Mom interrupted. "Do you know where Sam and Brooke are? Do you—" "It's all in the comic strip," I said. "Kid, we don't have time for comics now," Officer Rawls said. "Tell us—" "Come look at this," I said. I went away from them. Started to jog to my room. "Explain everything. It's a comic strip. I didn't draw it. It just appeared on my computer." Followed me to my room, pointed at the laptop screen. "Sam and Brooke are in the strip," I said. "Look." Stared hard at the screen. Turned and stared too. Screen was blank. It's all gray. I started to pound. "It was here a second ago." Then I leaned over the laptop and scrolling up and down. Nothing. A blank screen. Officer Rawls put a hand on my shoulder. "Enough about comic strips," he said. "Do you want to tell us what's really going on?" "I don't know," I stammered. "Really." "Have any idea where the two missing kids might be?" "In the comic strip, Dr. Maniac took them to an abandoned swimming pool across town," I said. "Froze the pool and turned into an ice rink. He wants to kidnap all the kids in town and make them skate on this ice show." Dr. Rawls let out a long sigh. "This isn't a comic book, kid," he growled. "You're starting to annoy me. Think this is some kind of joke?" He didn't wait for my answer. Turned and lumbered down the hall and down the stairs. Mom gave me a worried glance. She followed him downstairs. I could hear them arguing. "Your son's a total mental," I heard the officer say. "Comic books have gone to his head." I heard the front door slam. Out of my bedroom window I saw Officer Rawls stomp across the front yard, climb to his patrol car, and sped off. Am I a total wacko, I asked myself. I don't think so. Waited till Mom and Dad went out. When I left the house, the afternoon sun was falling behind the trees. I leaned into the cool breeze and made my way to the bus stop. I knew where that abandoned swimming pool was. Took swimming lessons there when I was in the preschool. Officer Rawls didn't believe me, so I had to check it out myself. The comic trick to tell the truth. The bus ride took nearly half an hour. Gave me a lot of time to think about my crazy plan. Did I really fall in a comic strip character that I made up? Really lead me to Sam and Brooke? Found myself in a neighborhood of rundown apartment buildings and abandoned stores. Didn't take long to find the old brick building that held the swimming pool. Started to the front door, then stopped. Maybe Dr. Maniac was inside. Might be a lot smarter to sneak in through the back. I remembered a back door that opened onto the pool. At the corner, a big dog was nosing around the overturned trash can. Slipped past him and made my way to the alley in the back. The building blocked out the sunlight. Walked carefully through the darkness. Grabbed the knob and tried the back door. To my surprise, it pulled open easily. Light poured out into the alley. I opened the door just a crack and peeked inside. The bright glare of the white ice made me blink. Yes, the frozen pool, just like in the strip. Pulled the door open a little wider, took a deep breath and crept inside. A blast of icy air greeted me. My eyes still hadn't adjusted to the glare. The yellow-tinted walls glowed like sunlight, and gazed to the giant ice rink. "Hey!" I let out a shout when I saw two kids. Yes, boy and girl. skating together, leaning forward, skating away from me. Hey! Leaped onto the ice again, rushing towards them. Sam Brooke, it's me! I cried. They didn't turn around. Dr. Maniac suddenly appeared on the ice just ahead of me, uttered a startled gasp, shorter than I had drawn him. His belly bulged inside his tight costume. Tried to stop, slipped for 4 or 5 feet. No! I shouted as I lost my balance and fell to the surf. Fell. I landed hard on my knees and elbows on the frozen surface. Before I could scramble my feet, a heavy net fell over me, sent me sprawling on my stomach. Face hit, and I got a mouthful of ice. Struggled on my back, tried to kick and thrash free, but the heavy net held me down. Sweeping his cape behind me, Dr. Maniac stood over me, grinned down at me. Join our show, Robby! He exclaimed. The more, the merrier. Let me go, I screamed. And them too! Here's my head. That Sam and Brooke skated up to me. Whoa, wait, not Sam and Brooke. 2 kids I'd never seen before. Shoved the net with both hands and sat up. Behind the 2 kids I saw a young woman gliding over the ice. She had red hair and sparkling blue eyes. She wore a red mask, a very short red skirt over red tights and a red top, red cape that flowed down to shiny red boots. The Scarlet Starlet! The Scarlet Starlet! Dr. Maniac cried. Glad you could join us. Where are the spotlights? The Scarlet Starlet demanded. Where are the cameras? Where are my adoring fans? I'm trying to keep it quiet, Dr. Maniac replied, until I can fill my ice rink with kids. Tossed back her long red hair. But I need a lot of attention, she said. Don't forget, I'm the Scarlet Starlet. Don't worry, Dr. Maniac said. When our 24-hour ice show begins, you'll get lots of attention. More attention than a hamster in an encyclopedia factory. That didn't make any sense to me, but it made her smile. Slapped him a high five. Her long fingernails were also bright red. Still smiling, she lowered her gaze at me. Maniac, she said. I see we have a new skater. Please call me Dr. Maniac, he scolded. I have a college degree in maniacal studies. Well, who's our new skater? She asked. I'm not here to skate, I cried. Pushed at the net with all my strength. Let me out of here! You two can't get away with this! Dr. Maniac and the Scarlet Starlet both laughed. He's a funny one, the Scarlet Starlet said. What have you done with my brother? I screamed. Where's my friend Brooke? The Scarlet Starlet's red smile faded. She leaned down close to me. Behind her mask, her eyes turned to ice. Just forget about them, she said. You'll never see them again. Chapter 20. Never see them again. Her words sent a chill down my back. I don't understand. Where are they? I stammered. What have you done with them? The 2 supervillains didn't answer. They each took an end of the heavy net and lifted it high. I scrambled out from under it, tried to run. Had to get out away from there. Had to get help. Maybe Dr. Rawls would believe me now. Took 4 or 5 running steps and my sneakers slid out from under me. Fell face first on the ice again. Dr. Maniac moved quickly to pick me up. Brushed ice off the front of my t-shirt. Don't worry, I have skates in your size, he said. You can join the show. He pulled a pair of skates from a large box, handed them to me. Start skating 24 hours. You'll get used to it. Good exercise. I'm not gonna skate, I said. Not until you tell me where Sam and Brooke are. Dr. Maniac's face twisted in anger. You don't skate, he said. I'll tickle you till you puke. You're crazy, I cried. I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac, he screamed. The Scarlet Starlet patted my head. Better put on the skates, she said softly. I've watched him tickle people. It isn't pretty. Gazed over her scarlet shoulder to the door. Gonna dart past them and make it out of there before they grab me. The other 2 kids had started skating back and forth again. No way I wanted to join them. Knew once I started, they'd never let me stop. Saw a blur of purple at the other end of the ring. 2 supervillains saw it too. We stared as the blur grew larger. I blinked in disbelief. The purple rays came sliding over the ice to us, both wrists raised.
"No one bites my giraffe!" he boomed. "Having to rescue kids and battle you two skunks again!"
He let out an angry roar. "Yay!" I cheered, and I heard Dr. Maniac whisper to Scarlet Starlet. "Don't worry, I know how to handle this red-faced rooster."
"Let the kids go!"
Purple Rage shouted. Dr. Maniac put his hands at his bulging waist, talked back his head, and laughed. The Scarlet Starlet copied him. He opened her red lips wide and laughed. The rage face grew redder. His eyes nearly popped out of his head.
"Maybe you didn't hear me!" he screamed. "I said let the kids go, or you'll face the rage of the Purple Rage!"
The Maniac shook his head and giggled. The Scarlet Starlet hee-hawed, slapping her knees. The Rage's face was bright purple now. His cheeks puffed out. His nostril flared. His chest heaved as he struggled to breathe.
"Feel my rage!" he boomed.
The two villains laughed and giggled, laughed so hard their faces were wet with tears. The Purple Rage shot both fists high above his head. His chest ballooned out. His eyes bulged and let out a furious roar. And then he exploded. Just like that. Pop! He burst apart to a million icky pieces. The pieces flew all over the ice. You! Dr. Maniac grinned at the Scarlet Starlet. "I told you that I knew how to handle him. He's just sitting on a lemon meringue pie. Just make him really, really, really angry and he'll burst." He shoved the skates back into my hands. "Okay, we don't have to worry about him anymore. Start skating." Chapter 21. I pulled on the skates and started to slide back and forth across the big rink with the other two kids. I had no choice, and a million questions wanted to ask. Three of us didn't talk. Too scared, I guess. The only sound was the scrape of our skates on the hard surface. Couldn't stop thinking about Sam and Brooke. Dr. Maniac had grabbed them both. Why weren't they skating with us? Why did the Scarlet Starlet say they were gone for good? Just forget about them. You'll never see them again. Every time I heard those words in my mind, my stomach tightened. My legs became weak. I felt sick. Big blobby pieces of the Purple Rage all over the ice. I had to skate carefully around them. It was really gross. All he could have controlled his anger. And a sigh after sigh. Was he our last hope? How long did I skate? Maybe an hour? Maybe 2 hours. More kids joined us. The two supervillains were keeping their promise. They were busy grabbing all the kids in town. Soon the skating rink was mobbed. Horrifying sight. Dozens and dozens of sad-looking kids skating silently, all too terrified to stop. Sweat poured down on my face. My long hair had soaked. Legs trembled with every move. Pushed my way through the crowd, skating slowly, painfully. Felt exhausted. Knew I couldn't skate much longer. "Sam! Brooke!" I muttered to myself. "Where are you?" How could I get out of here? How could I find them? Finally, I began to think clearly. There were at least 200 kids trapped there. There's only 2 supervillains. We had them totally outnumbered. All stampeded for the exit. Some of us might get stopped, but a lot of us would escape. It helped for the others. I looked my eyes to the back wall. A huge video screen hung high on the wall. On the screen, the Scarlet Starlet and Dr. Maniac gazed down at us. Their eyes sparkled happily as they watched us skate, making them wipe those smiles off their faces. Enormous round clock, black numbers against white, hung next to the video screen. The clock said 8:20. Lowered my hands to my knees and gliding through the skaters. At 8:20, head for the door, I heard. I whispered, "Pass it on." Crisscrossed the ring, trying to reach as many kids as I could. 8:20, we escape, I whispered again and again. Head for the door, pass it on. Kids gazed up at the big video screen, frightened looks on their face. Keep skating, I whispered. Pass it on, 8:30. Head for the door. My legs ached. My heart pounded in my chest. Escape scraped the ice that kept my eyes on the clock. 1 minute to go. Feel the excitement build among all of us trapped kids. Hush fell over the rink. Just my leg muscles prepared to burst to the exit. Seconds ticked away. First I thought the cracking noise was coming from outside. Heard a kid scream. Saw a girl slide on her back. Her feet shot straight to the air. The cracking grew louder. I slid to stop as cracks of the ice sank in front of me. "It's melting!" a boy screamed. "It's all melting!" Chapter 22. The deafening roar rang out. The ice cracked and fell away. All around me, kids were sinking into deep, bone-chilling water. Screams and startled cries echoed off the tile walls. Raised my eyes to the video screen. Dr. Maniac stood at his computer typing frantically as the scarlet starlet looked on. He was melting the ice. It had all set up. He knew exactly how to block our escape. Surface cracked beneath me. Let out a groan as I went plunging down. The icy water rose up over my knees. Shuddering and shivering, I thrashed my arms helplessly. Sank to my waist, kept dropping. Water so cold, I feel my whole body going numb. All around me, kids shouted and cried and splashed and kicked. Kids tried to swim out of it, but chunks of ice blocked their way. Gotta move," I muttered to myself, shivering and shaking, "before I go totally numb." Too cold to swim, too deep to walk. Hurtled forward, pulled myself, used every bit of strength I have. Finally shivering, my teeth chattering, crawled from the freezing pool. Dr. Maniac stood nearby at the computer controls. Gotta get him before he saw me. With a shudder, I climbed to my feet, staggered towards him, water running off me, lurched ahead, shivered and shaken, and dove at Dr. Maniac. I didn't think. My brain was totally frozen. I had no plan. Threw myself at him. Groaned, I grabbed him around the waist, and he struggled, trying to spin out of my grasp. I held on tight, grasping for breath, and pulled myself up on him. Grabbed his cape. My wet hand slid off. Started to duck away, raised both hands, grabbed his face. "Yes," I uttered, my whole body. He shuddered and shivered. Tied my fingers around his face, and it came off. His mask came off in my hands. It was a mask. I tossed the mask down, stared into his real face, and screamed at the top of my lungs, "Sam! It's you!" Chapter 23. Shivering from the freezing water that soaked my clothes, I stared at my brother. "Sam!" He grabbed the mask from me. "I'm not your brother anymore," he said. "I'm Dr. Maniac." "But how?" I choked out. The scarlet starlet stepped between us. "Don't ask any questions," she snapped. She lifted her mask so I could see her real face. "Brooke?" I gasped. "You too?" "I told you to forget about us," she said. "Sam and Brooke are gone forever." She pulled the scarlet mask back over her face. My mind was spinning. Felt dizzy. Meanwhile, the kids were screaming and crying. Turned and saw frightened faces, thrashing arms and legs. Kids were swimming and splashing, trying frantically to get out of the ice-clogged pool. On the big video screen on the back wall, I glimpsed myself standing between Sam and Brooke, see the totally shocked expressions on my face. Grabbed my brother by the shoulders. "But why, Sam?" I asked. "Why did you choose to be evil?" Sam's dark eyes locked on mine. "You said it your first, Robby. You said villains are always more interesting." He pulled the mask down over his head. "I'm a maniac now. I'm not your pudgy kid brother anymore." "But Sam," I protested, "you were always the talented one," he said, sneering. "Mr. Talented Artist with his awesome comic strips. I was just a chubby joke. Well, not anymore. I'm evil, Robby, and I'm going to be rich." "No, this is wrong," I cried. "Totally wrong. Sam, you have to come home." He and Brooke stepped close and sandwiched me between them. Are you with us or against us?" Brooke said. "With us or against us?" Sam demanded. It wasn't a question. It was a threat. They pushed against me. I could feel their evil. "With us or against us?" Sam demanded. I couldn't believe it. I felt terrified. Terrified of my own brother and my friend. glared at me, waiting for my answer. Took a deep breath. Against you, I said. Now what are you gonna do? Chapter 24. Before they could answer, the back doors crashed open. All three of us turned and saw a group of black uniformed police officers swarm to the ring. No! Dr. Maniac let out an angry cry. The Scarlet Starlet gasped and took a step back, tripped over her cape and nearly fell over. At least a dozen uniformed cops ran in. Some waded into the pool, began pulling out the freezing, frightened kids. Others came rushing to the front of the pool. I recognized Officer Rawls. He led 5 or 6 other cops toward me. "Good work, Robby!" he shouted. "You led us right to them!" Dr. Maniac and the Starlet were too stunned to move. Cops surrounded us. "You two villains are going away for a long time!" Rawls shouted. Dr. Maniac tossed back his head and laughed. "You loser cops will never take us!" he cried. The cops made a grab for him, heard a soft pop, and Dr. Maniac and the Scarlet Starlet vanished. Cops grabbed the air. "Where'd they go?" Rawls cried. "Don't let them get away!" I pointed to the huge video screen on the back wall. "There they are!" I shouted. "Yes?" The two villains stared at us from the big screen. "The world will never be safe from us," the Scarlet Starlet shouted. Dr. Maniac laughed his hyena laugh. "She's right," he declared. "When she's right, she's right. She's as right as a mongoose at a picnic. You're all doomed." I glanced at the computer near the wall. Suddenly I had an idea. A frightening idea. An idea that just might work. I moved the computer keyboard. Hesitated. I didn't want to do it. I really didn't. Knew I had a choice. Raised my key to the keyboard. Pressed the delete key. With another pop, Dr. Maniac and the Scarlet Starlet vanished from the video screen. Vanished for good. Chapter 25. Mom and I were in my bedroom. Mom leaned over me with her hands on my shoulders, reading the comic strip on my laptop. A long story. The longest I'd ever drawn. I called it Dr. Maniac vs. Robby Schwartz. Mom finally finished it and took a deep step back. "Wow," she said. "That's excellent, Robby. Very exciting. Swimming pool scene is terrific." "You really like it?" I asked. "Yeah. There's a sad ending. You lead your brother and your friend Brooke." I nodded. "Thought it was a perfect ending," I said. "Good triumphing over evil. It was sad. I like the way you mix the real world with the pretend world," Mom said. "Very clever. I know you hate being an only child, so you invented a brother and sister for yourself." "Yeah, that's why I made Sam and Taylor," I said. Mom patted my shoulder. "Maybe you spend so much time at your computer because you're lonely." She said, "I'm not lonely, Mom. Just like to make up stories." "That's good," she said. "I'm going to write a new comic book with all new characters. I'll give myself 3 brothers and 3 sisters." That made Mom laugh. Phone rang. Gave me a wave and hurried downstairs. Turned back to my laptop. Whoa, let out a startled cry. Drawing on the screen I'd never seen before. In the drawing, Dr. Maniac and the Scarlet Starlet stood side by side. Standing next to him, my imaginary sister Taylor. "Hey, I didn't draw this," I cried. Leaned close, studied the scene. Our screen, standing in an amusement park. "I don't believe this," I muttered. "How is this possible?" Dialogue balloons popped up over their heads. Taylor said, "Listen, Robby, next time I want a bigger part. I didn't get to do anything in your dumb story." Scarlet Starlet said, "We don't like your ending. We have a better ending." And finally, Dr. Maniac, grinning out at me like an evil fiend, said, "You won't like our ending, Robby. We'll show it to you real soon. We'll be waiting for you in HorrorLand." That is a interesting conclusion. Alright, on to the HorrorLand section. Well, first, I'm gonna take a quick break, take a pee, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. The story so far. Several kids have received mysterious invitations to be special guests at HorrorLand theme park. They were supposed to have a week of scary fun. The scares quickly became too real. Brittany Crosby and Molly Mallory disappeared. Billy Deep was horrified when his sister Shenna became invisible, and then Shenna disappeared too. A park guide, a horror named Brian, warned the kids they were all in danger. Brian tried to help them, but he was dragged away by the horrors. Why are they all in danger? Kids are desperate to find Brian to get some answers. Carly Beth Cadwell and her friend Sabrina Manson arrived at HorrorLand a few days after the others. They quickly got themselves lost and locked in an area in a park called Wolfbane's Forest. They also trapped in the forest are werewolves. You guessed it, Robby Schwartz. Robby, continue the story. Chapter 1. Wolfbane Forest. When I saw the big sign to the entrance, I thought it sounded like a place in one of my comic stories. But it was real. Too real. A forest where wolves and werewolves walked free. They howled at the moon and patted it on their furry paws over the crackling dead leaves of the forest floor. I could see the glowing eyes of the inhuman beast throughout the dark trees. Were they stalking me? Stalking their prey? A chill shook my body as if somebody dropped ice down my back. HorrorLand is an amusement park, right? And Wolfbane Forest is one of the biggest attractions. It's supposed to be fun. I told myself the half-man, half-werewolf creatures were machines. Big toys run by someone in a hidden control room. But it looked so real, so menacing. Even in bright daylight, I stayed on the alert and kept my distance. Now it was night. I listened to the hungry howls all around me, and each sound made me jump with fright. How did I let this happen? Why did I stay so long in Werewolf Village? My first day in HorrorLand, yes, I was excited when the invitation came in the mail. Thought about everything else. I had to go. I mean, I know I got that weird message from Dr. Maniac and everything, but would you give up a free week as a special guest at the coolest theme park ever? Why was Werewolf Village the first place I visited? I know so many comics that take place in the woods and forest. Love imagining the scary beasts and monsters that live in the forest. Couldn't wait to see what HorrorLand's people created in their forest. I lost track of time. Out in the thick trees of the forest, and then see the sun go down. And now I stumbled through the dark, searching for the way out, listening to the angry growls and long, mournful wolf howls. Gave me lots of ideas for my next trip. Dr. Maniac versus the White Werewolf, or maybe Dr. Venus versus Wonder Werewolf. Who would win that battle? Or the evil Maniac to defeat an immortal Wolfman? I was thinking hard about the question. I didn't see the jagged rock in front of me. I let out a cry as I stumbled over it. My arms shot out to stop my fall. I landed on somebody. High, shrill screams made my heart stop beating. My arms were tangled in somebody's arms. Bumped heads, struggled to pull away. Screams rang in my ears. Staggering back, I saw two girls about my age. Even in the dark, I could see their eyes were wide with fear. Huddled together, they backed away from me. Breathing hard, brushed off the front of my jeans. Hi, I said. Guess I scared you, huh? What are you doing here? The taller one cried. Hair is so wild, so dark here. We thought you were a werewolf, her friend said. No, I don't even shave yet, I told her. Always keep it light, right? Still stared at me like some kind of hideous creature. Robby Schwartz, terror of the forest. Sorry I scared you, I said. Tripped over something. Couldn't find my way out of this place. Two girls told me their names, Carly Beth and Sabrina. I'm Robby Schwartz, I said. Been wandering around in circles for hours. I was a Boy Scout. Don't know how to read a compass. fuck you mean you don't know how to read a compass? Points north. I'm about to smack Robby. A compass is not that complicated! God damn it. Carly Beth frowned. I don't think a compass would help, she said. One of the tall wire gate. Sabrina and I got lost too. Saw some horrible men in cages. Some of them have wolf snouts. Wasn't fun. Looked real. Finally found this gate. Sabrina walked to the gate and tugged at the metal lock. We're locked in. Has to be an unlocked gate somewhere, right? Unless they lock up the whole forest for the night, I said. Carly Beth hugged herself. Has to be a way out. Otherwise kids would get trapped in here every night. Maybe that's how they feed the wolves, I said. It's supposed to be a joke. No one laughed. Out of the silence I heard rapid footsteps. I froze, listened to the thud of heavy paws on the ground. Low snarls, growling. Wolves. Hungry growls. Wolves moving fast through the forest. They're coming for us, I whispered. They burst out from the trees. 4 of them, heads lowered, eyes glowing like yellow marbles. My mouth dropped open. I froze in fear. I knew I looked like a terrified character in one of my comics. Suddenly a scene from my first stories flashed through my mind. Dr. Maniac versus the mighty mole boy. Didn't think about it. My body just moved. Dropped to my knees on the soft ground, the dirt in the gate began pawing at the ground. Dug frantically. Luckily the dirt was soft as sand. Scooped up handfuls of dirt under the fence, shoved them aside, pawing like a mole creature in my comic strip. The growling wolves foam formed a line behind us, one of them lifting its heads to the moon as it signaled for an attack. Breathing hard, I shoveled an opening big enough to slide my hands through, dropped my hand from the shallow hole, and dropped onto my stomach. Kicked with both feet, kicked hard and fast again and again. Bottom of the fence scraped my back, pushed myself under it, and over to the other side. Then, wiping dirt off my forehead, I turned and held the 2 girls, and had to tell them what to do. Sabrina was already on her stomach, stuck both hands out on the bottom of the fence. Grabbed them and started to pull her through to my side. Duck your head! Duck your head! I screamed. Hair got stuck on a wire. Let out a cry and lowered her face in the dirt. Tugged her the rest of the way. Turned to help Carly Beth. Behind her I watched the wolves, their silvery fur glistened in the moonlight. Raised their heads and let out a hungry howl. They arched their back, preparing to attack. Hurry, Carly Beth! Hurry, Carly Beth! Sabrina screamed. I grabbed Carly Beth's hands and pulled. Her body slid heavily under the dirt. She was halfway through when the wolves attacked. All 4 of them leapt at once. Screamed so loud I dropped her hands. Heart pounding, I grabbed for them once again, pulled her hard. Carly Beth was stuck. It got me! Carly Beth wailed. Ow! It got my foot! Chapter 3. No! Hoarse cry burst from my throat. Picture Carly Beth's foot chewed to pieces. But no. Carly Beth, the wolf doesn't have your foot. I choked out. Your foot is caught in the fence. Gave a hard kick. Shoe caught in the fence. Pulled her the rest of the way. But I pulled her the rest of the way to my side. Furious wolves left and crashed into the fence. Howling angrily, they leapt again. Too late. Carly Beth jumped to her feet, struggling to catch her breath. They're real, she stammered. The wolves stared at us, their heads lower like a staring contest, didn't move or blink. Let's get out of here, Sabrina said. Turned her friends back from the fence. At least we gotta get out of the forest. Let's go back to the hotel. Carly Beth turned to me. You saved us. Those wolves, she said, digging on the fence like that. That's me, Robby Schwartz, superhero, I said. No one can buy a cape and tights. We gotta find the other kids, Carly Beth said. We gotta tell them what Sabrina and I heard today. What's going on? Pulled out her shoe from under the fence. Then, taking long strides, she and Sabrina followed the path towards the staggered inn. Our hotel. I had to jog to catch up to them. Other kids? You mean? What do you mean? I asked, stepping behind them. We met these other kids, Carly Beth said. Other special guests. They said scary things happened to them when they were in the park. Said a horror named Brian warned them. Warned them about what? I said. Warned them that we're all in danger, Carly Beth replied. Danger? Still, I remember the end of the comic strip. Dr. Maniac warning me he'd be waiting at HorrorLand. Maybe I should have listened. We passed by the Crocodile Cafe. A neon sign over the door read, "Grab a bite. Good food and a snap." I could see the Black Lagoon water park in the distance. The park was still covered with kids and families, cheering me up being back in the crowd. Out of that frightening werewolf village. Why did Carly Beth still look so totally terrified? I didn't believe those kids when they told me about the missing girls, Carly Beth said. Said 2 girls, Brittany and Molly, totally disappeared. A girl named Sheena turned invisible. Thought maybe they were trying to scare Sabrina and me. Carly Beth shook her head. I believe them now. We heard there were two horrors talk. These 2 horrors talking, Sabrina said. Marcus and Bubba. Those were their names. They didn't know Carly Beth and I could hear them. Ducked out around a frozen eyeball cart. Behind the cart, a whore in a yellow apron was piling eyeballs on a sugar cone. Painting on the sign were the words, "Ice cream, like an eyeball for lunch." What did the 2 horrors say? I asked. They said things were going to get a lot scarier for a special guest, Sabrina replied. I squinted at her. Seriously? Carly Beth frowned at me. Don't you think being attacked by real wolves was scary enough? Carly Beth is right, Sabrina said. Something's frightening going on here. Well, what should we do? I asked. Before they could answer, I felt something wrap around my foot. Look out! I screamed. My hand flew in front of me and went plunging headfirst to the ground. Chapter 4. Hit asphalt and bounced once or twice. Breath caught in my throat. Something had brought me down. Something? Why were the girls laughing? I spun around, saw a puffy green stuffed snake at my feet. Someone probably won in a carnival dream and dropped it. 2 girls helped me pull me up. You're an awesome superhero, Sabrina said. We won't tell anyone you tripped over a stuffed snake, Carly F. said. Just everyone we meet. They both laughed again, held up the snake. Look at those vicious fangs, I said. This snake is a killer. I saved your lives again. I handed the snake to the little girl who was walking by with her parents. You're our millionth customer, I said. You win a fabulous stuffed snake. Thanks, she said, flung the snake over her shoulders and began walking. Watched her go. Parents kept looking back at us. We gotta get serious, Carly Beth said. Started towards the hotel again. We're almost killed back there. Maybe those kids found Brian, that whore who said he wanted to help. We made our way through a group of teenagers who kept playing keep away, like kids' baseball cap. Tossed it back and forth, shouting and laughing. I just came here for fun, I told the girls. You really think that we were all invited for another reason? I didn't hear the answer. See them talking. Their words disappeared into the air. Something very strange was happening to me. I felt like I was floating. I left my body down on the ground, hovering above it, far away to hear what Carly Beth and Sabrina were saying. I struggled to concentrate on them. I feel myself being pulled away. I feel my mind drifting, swimming in the air. Held my breath, shook my head, tried to make the strange feeling go away. Blinking, I focused on the building up ahead. Big neon on letters above the wide entrance announced, "The Game Preserve. 100 video game. Game Preserve. A huge video game arcade?" Without realizing it, spun away from the girls. Like they were taking me there. Mine was already there, being pulled like a vacuum cleaner. Pulled the game arcade. Hey, Robby! I heard Carly Beth shout. Robby, where are you going? Hey! Catch you later, I said. At least I think I said that, because my brain was already in the arcade. Stepped through the door into a huge room under the intense blue light. Blue light washing over everything. Games looked blue, and the people playing them did too. The floor and walls glowed like blue ice. I walked past a row of war games and a long row of racing games, cars roaring and squealing. Saw pinball games against one wall, and a wall of classic games like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. I didn't stop to check them out. Guns roared, bombs exploded, music rose and fell. I kept walking through the blue light as if the legs knew where they were going. Didn't have a choice. This is what it feels like to be hypnotized. Strange blue light swirled around me like a fog. Finally cleared, I was standing in a tiny back room. The roars and blasts of the games behind me faded into the far distance. I stopped and stared in shock at one game in the room. A big screen TV with flashing lights all around it. Evil laughter pouring out of its screen. The title of the game filled the air in dripping purple letters. Dr. Maniac's World of Pain. I gasped. How could this be? How could this be a Dr. Maniac game? And what was the power that pulled me here? Drew me to this game. Knew I had to play it. Moved to the counter beside the game console. Helmet with an orange visor and yellow leather gloves waiting for me. Next to him, I saw a stack of silver tokens. Someone wanted me to play this game. Someone got it all ready for me. But who? And why? Why couldn't I just turn and walk away? Pulled the heavy helmet down over my head. Peered out through the plastic orange visor. There's speakers inside the helmet. Heard the music and that deep, evil laughter. Pulled on the yellow gloves. Their light slipped on easily. Stepped up to the game console. Grabbed a token in the slot. Made a clicking sound. The music changed. The screen went blank. Picked up the red and purple gun from the side of the game machine. Tested it out a few times. Made a drop sound every time it pulled the trigger. Screen turned purple and red. Smoky fog covered the screen. Then figures stepped forward out of the fog, threw out his leopard skin cape and floated closer. Dr. Maniac. My character. My creation. My enemy. Chapter 5. My hand trembled as I pushed the start button. Leaned over the console. Gotta defeat Dr. Maniac. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac! Dr. Maniac's voice boomed inside my head. Inside my helmet. I raised the blaster, aiming at the big M on the chest and pulled the trigger. I heard a drippy bloop 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 sound. On the video screen, Dr. Maniac tossed back his head and laughed. You'll have to earn your ammo first, Robby! He booed. The chase is on, loser! I gasped. Call me by my name. Took off, flew towards a crowded city. The leopard skin cape floated behind him as he swooped higher, then down again in between tall buildings. In the blaster, the yellow feathers and his boots pulled the trigger. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Useless. I dropped the gun and grabbed the controller, whipped it frantically from left to right, trying to follow the flying villain. He flew through a maze of tall buildings and ducked through crowds at busy corners. Every time I stayed with him, I racked up ammo points. Numbers rolled at the top of the screen. Heard a sound like pow 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 every time I scored. He zoomed into a subway opening, followed him down to the tunnel. Flew together in a wild race through the dark, twisting tunnels. Pulled up to an ugly monster rose out of the tracks. Huge purple underground subway creatures swinging a dozen deadly tentacles. Monster filled the tunnel, blocking my path to Dr. Maniac. Yellow slime dripped out of its jagged yellow teeth. Screeching in the top of its lungs, it waved its tentacles, snapped its massive jaws open to swallow me. Jerked the controller back to stop my flight. Fumbled for the blaster, grabbed it and pulled the trigger. 2 words on the big screen filled the games. Big green letters filled the screen. Game over. Breathing hard, I leaned both hands on the game console. Game ended just as I was racking up big ammo points. Reached for another token. Should I play another game? No. I decided. Gotta catch up with Carly Beth Sabrina. Then Dr. Maniac's grinning face appeared on the screen. Robby, you surely know what a loser never quits, and a quitter never loses. Or something like that, he screamed. Tossed his head back and laughed. I'm not crazy, I'm a maniac! Took off again. This time he was flying over a crowded beach. Gold and green ocean waves were tossing beneath him. And without realizing it, my gloved hands were flying back on the console, on the controls, chasing him again, flying behind him. Swooped when he swooped, tried to follow his every move. Pow, pow, pow. Ammo points rolled up. It was over 50,000 now. Dr. Maniac stretched out his arms and flew away from the beach. Sound and wind roared in my head. Heard sounds, hoarse calls and cries. A swarm of fanged vampire seagulls rose up in front of me, their wings raised high, again spit blood at me. Every time I was hit, I felt it. It was just a game, but I felt every hit, every blast of the wind and the water. On the screen, it dropped lower in the sky. A few more hits, and I'd sink into the ocean. I'd feel myself drowning. Raised a blaster and aimed at the screen. Pop! Vampire seagull exploded on the screen in a flash of red and yellow. Pop! Pop! Blasted 2 more. Ow! Hit again. Scuffing birds were raining blood on me. I was sinking. The tossing waves reached up, pulled me down. Once again, game over. Okay, I'm done, I shouted. You win. Struggled and catch my breath. Grabbed the sides of the helmet, started to pull it off. Hey! Stuck or something. I grabbed the visor, tugged up on it. Helmet didn't slide. Again, I pressed my gloved hand against the sides, pushed up with all my strength. No, the helmet had tightened itself to my head. Decided I'd remove it easier without the gloves. Grabbed the fingers of one glove, pulled at them. Huh? Let out a startled cry, and the gloves wouldn't slide either. Frankly, I pulled out one glove, then the other. I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac! Dr. Maniac screamed, rang inside the helmet. On the big video screen, he laughed his evil laugh, took off again. And this time he was flying over a jungle. My hands grabbed the controls, and I guided myself after him. I can't quit, I cried out loud. It won't let me stop. Pow, 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 pow. Rang up ammo points, I swooped and dove after the flying villain. Now we were flying to a wild path of the jungle trees. My left hand frantically guided the controller. My right hand grabbed the blaster and began shooting at the jungle animals. They leapt at me. Pow, pow, pow. Want to quit, I cried. My voice was muffled by the helmet, drowned out by the loud music, the screams of the jungle animals, and Dr. Maniac's insane laughter. I want to stop, I screamed. The game ended. Struggled to pull off the gloves, clamped my teeth on the middle fingers, tugged with all my might. No, gloves stuck my hand. Fierce cry, I grabbed the side helmet and twisted in one way and the other. Sent pain down my neck. Helmet didn't budge. And the game began. Dr. Maniac flew over a red sand desert. Grabbed the controllers. Couldn't stop myself. Couldn't keep my hands from gripping it. Took off after him. His laughter ringing from the helmet. Sweat poured down my forehead. My legs trembling. My heart raced. The game ended. Another started. Then another. Bent over the game console. Struggled to free myself. I was trapped. As a prisoner. Prisoner of the video game. Another game started. Raced across the big city again. Suddenly, in the glass that covered the video screen, saw a reflection. Someone stood behind me in the arcade room. See a shadowy figure in the glass. Stared harder at the reflection. Figures. Stepped closer and I realized it was Dr. Maniac, standing behind me. Still gripping the controls, I spun my head around. No one was standing there. Turned back to the game, saw Dr. Maniac gritting reflection in the glass. Turned and glanced around the room. No one was there. Pow, 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 pow. The game continued. Back in the subway tunnel, blasting away at the ugly underground monster. Arms ached, my legs shook. Throat felt so dry, I couldn't swallow. The game ended and another began. Tried to free myself, but I was stuck. I heard a noise behind me. Moved my head around and saw 2 girls walk in the room. Carly, Beth, Sabrina? No, 2 other girls. Looked around my age. Both had coppery red hair and brown eyes. One wore a red and yellow sundress. The other had a pale green shirt with white shorts. Were they sisters? Stopped just past the doorway and stared at me. Help me, I screamed. Help! Stuck here! Tried to point to the game machine, but my hands wouldn't let go of the controller and blaster. Took a few steps closer. Please, I begged. It's no joke. It's for real. Help me! What do you want us to do? One in the sundress asked. Pull the plug! Unplug the machine! Hurry! Please, unplug it! Dr. Maniac cackled in my ear. I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac! He shrieked. And another game began. Unplug it! Unplug it! I cried. The girl ran to the back of the machine, then dropped on their knees to find the plug. Couldn't see them. On the screen, I was flying over the air. An vampire seagull squawked and spit blood at me. Unplug it! Can you find the plug? I cried. Please! Both girls poked their head out at the same time. I can't unplug it, one of them shouted. It isn't plugged in! Chapter 6. One girl held up the plug. See? Dr. Maniac's laughter rang in the helmet. Vampire seagulls rained blood on me, sinking toward the ocean waves. My arms ached, my chest tightened. I feel my legs about to cave. Played at least 20 games, could barely see straight. But I couldn't stop myself. I leaned over the console, blasting away at the seagulls. "Find the on-off switch!" I cried. "Hurry!" Girls circled the machine, bent down, searched under the video screen, all around the base of the console. "We can't find it!" One of them shouted. "There's no switch!" The other said. "We can't turn it off!" Pow, pow, pow. Kaboom! Seagull exploded on the screen. 3 more vicious birds came flying at me. Let out a moan. Everything faded to gray. Then black. See my eyes roll up in my head. Or I can feel my eyes roll up in my head. My knees buckle. Knew I was fainting. Couldn't stop myself. Chest hit the front of the game console and fell. Sharp pain shot through my head and hit the glass on the way down. You know how they always show people seeing stars in comic books? Bang their head on something. They see stars floating in their heads. Well, I really did see them. Bright gold ones twinkling against a black background. Stars faded. I blacked out. When I opened my eyes, I was flat on my back, on the floor. Suddenly, I lifted my head, stared at the video screen, blank. The game had stopped. Set up, pulled off my helmet. "Yes!" I cried. "I'm free!" Pulled off the gloves, tossed them across the room. Girls stood there gaping at me. "I'm okay." Lucky I got a hard head. I fell down a lot. Trying to be funny. I didn't laugh. Moved forward quickly. Grabbed my arms, pulled me to my feet. "You have to come with us," the one in the sundress said. "It's not safe here." They held my arms tightly and started to guide me to the door. "Hurry, just follow us," the other girl said. "Whoa!" Pulled my arms free. "Where are you taking me?" "Away from here." "Far away," the first one said. "Where it's safe." "Excuse me?" I cried. "Who are you guys?" "I'm Brittany Crosby." "That's my friend, Molly Mallory." Chapter 7. Brittany and Molly. Where have I heard those names before? "I'm Robby Schwartz," I said. Come on, Robby. Hurry, Brittany said. Grabbed my arms again. "HorrorLand isn't safe." "You think getting stuck in that game was an accident?" Molly asked. "You just saw for yourself how dangerous it is here." "Come with us," Brittany said, pulling me through the arcade. "Where?" I asked again. These girls were definitely weird. "The other park," Molly said in a whisper. Glanced around to make sure no one overheard. "We'll be safe there." "Huh? Other park?" I cried. "Special guests were all brought to HorrorLand for revenge," Brittany said, squeezed my arm. I could see she was frightened. "We have to rescue the others too," she said. "Revenge? Who'd want revenge?" I demanded. "I don't understand what you're saying." "You're not making sense." Blue light at the arcade washed over us as they pulled me to the door. Games were quiet now. Very late. Big room had emptied out. "Just trust us," Molly said. "We have to bring you to the other park with us." Pulled a token from her pocket, traced it in front of my face. The golden coin was so shiny and new. I could see my reflection in it. I could see the words engraved on the front. Panic Park. "Just look at this for a minute," Molly said. I laughed. "You're trying to hypnotize me?" They didn't answer. Suddenly I gazed at the shiny golden token. I began to feel weird. I mean really weird. Like I was being pulled to the token. Like being sucked into my own reflection by a powerful force. Feeling my body float off the floor. Fly with the coin in Molly's hand as if I was weightless. As if I could disappear into the shiny token. Closer, closer. I was melting. My body shrinking to fit in the gold circle, shrinking away. I took a deep breath, let out an angry scream. "No!" With a burst of strength, I slapped the token out of Molly's hand. She gasped, and we both watched it fly across the room. It came spinning to stop in front of the arcade door. "Get it!" Molly cried to her friend. Before anyone could move, the door swung open. "Hey!" I let out a shrill cry. A ventriloquist dummy stood by itself in the doorway. No one was holding him up. No one else around. The dummy wore a tight-fitting gray suit with a red bow tie. It had a crazy smile on its painted lips. Its big eyes darted from side to side. Turned and saw both Brittany and Molly back away. "Slappy!" screamed the name together. Chapter 8. I wanted to get away from these two girls. They're acting totally weird. Started to the door, planned to push the mummy out of my way. Things started to move. Took a few steps toward me, stuck out its wooden hands to block my way. Hey, I shouted, turning back to Brittany and Molly. Who's making him walk? Before they could answer, the dummy spoke in a hoarse, tiny, high voice.
Who made you so stupid? This isn't a staring contest. Pick up the token, jerkface.
Girls uttered frightened cries, started to back away. Crazy, I cried. Who's making him talk? Better do as he says, Brittany muttered.
Pick up the token, the dummy shrieked. Listen to your new girlfriends.
Balled my hands in a tiny fist, took a step closer to the little guy. Robby, be careful, Brittany called. He's evil. Glanced back. You know him? He followed us here, Molly stammered. His name's Slappy. He's alive, really. Yeah, for sure, I muttered. Spun around to face the dummy. Get out of my way, Slappy, I shouted. Robby Schwartz, superhero, strikes again. Lowered my shoulder and hurtled at him, ready to bump in out of the doorway. Ow! Howled in pain as he snapped his wooden jaws under my ear. I brought my head up and lifted the dummy off the floor and swung my head around, trying to throw him off me. Clung to my ear, his wooden lips clamped down tighter. Pain shot through my head. Dropped to my knees, grabbed the dummy with both hands, shook him and struggled to pull him off. It won't let go, I gasped. Pain was so intense. Barely breathed. Biting off my ear, I screamed. Finally, the dummy let go. Spoke again.
Pick up the token, Brittany.
Brittany hesitated for a moment, but was too frightened to disobey the dummy. She bent down and picked up the golden token.
Hold it in front of this long-haired geek,
Slappy ordered. Brittany obeyed. Raised the token close to my face, so shiny I could see my reflection. Once again, felt myself pulled towards it, floating off the floor, out the room. Once again, I felt myself being dragged to the golden light of the token. Chapter 9. The light grew brighter, until I shut my eyes against it. When I opened my eyes, I found myself sprawled on the floor of the arcade, feeling dizzy and exhausted. I raised my head. Brittany? Molly? Instead, two other girls stared at me. I squinted up at them. Robby, what's your problem? Carly Beth asked. Why are you sitting on the floor? No time to play games, Sabrina said. Grabbed one arm and helped me, pulled me to my feet. Shook my head, trying to force away the dizziness. Where are the other two girls? I asked. And the dummy? Both girls glanced around the empty arcade. There's no one else here, Carly Beth said. But they were here a second ago, I said. They said the special guests aren't safe. We have to leave. Carly Beth stepped up to me and touched the side of my head. What's that bump? She said. Did you hit your head? Reached up and felt a lump. Hurt when I pressed it. I banged it against a game machine, I said. Sabrina laughed. First you trip over a stuffed toy, then you crash your head into a video game. Listen to me, I said. It isn't funny. Two girls came to help us. Said we had to get out of HorrorLand and to get to the other park. Carly Beth rolled her eyes. There were no other girls, she said. Hit your head, Robby. Knock yourself out. You dreamed it. Come on. Let's go find the others, Sabrina said. Took my left arm. Carly Beth took my right, began to lead me out of the arcade. My mind's and spun. Are they right? Was it just a crazy dream? A dream that those two missing girls came to my rescue. It seemed so real. Hey, stop! I cried. Jerked my arm free. Just inside the door, I bent down and picked up something off the floor. The golden token. To be continued in Goosebumps HorrorLand number 6. Who's your mummy? Alright. Well, that's the end of the story. Let's see. Wow. I finished that up much faster than usual. Well, I should probably wrap up things, because I didn't plan for anything else beyond that. I mean, while I did finish up earlier, it's not that much earlier to start something entirely new. So, let me see. We should raid someone. But who to raid? Lala's live. Playing Fallout 76. Luke is live playing Phasmophobia. Aquafina's live playing Call of Duty Black Ops. So, not my cup of tea. I wouldn't feel good dropping you off somewhere I wouldn't enjoy either. What's Kazi doing? Kazi's playing Overwatch. Umbra's also playing the new Call of Duty. Yuli's doing our reading writing stream. But looks like he's taking a break to play some I think this is Navalia? Something like that? Yeah, let's raid Yuli. Alright, to everyone here, I'd like to wish you all a fond farewell and thank you for stopping by. If you like this, of course, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing because it really helps me out. I'll be back tomorrow, so don't miss me too much, darlings. And until next time, everyone, fare thee well. Be sure to be on your best behavior when we raid Yuli. Alright. See you later.